We interrupt your regularly scheduled program for this special report.
Oh, you didn't know? Your ass better call somebody! Awesome! You people bought a ticket to see me, so shut up!
Sometimes I get so mad, there's no control.
Ladies and gentlemen, just in case you live under a rock,
I might grab a bat, I don't know, my rap, my blood boils over like, oh God, here goes. I lost all feeling from my head to my toes. You said some shit that I can't let go, so just stay tuned for the rest of the show. So have you ever felt betrayed? Switches how you see things, realize something needs change. Cause I know you got me fucked up, let me show you what's up. Cause enough is enough. I'll take a face full of pavement just to make a statement. I know there's no turning back. Oh God, adrenaline wasted, so mad I can taste it. I know there's no turning back. I'll do what it takes, I ain't making mistakes like that. I'll play it on your face just to make you go take it back. I'll lose my shit, I go crazy when I'm mad.
Be the villain! And I have no problem at all, because I couldn't care less if you like me or not. I'm here for success, and there's no one more successful than Grayson Moore.
Yeah! Let me talk to you! War game.
What's up, everybody? Welcome here to the Hill of the Ring on the Sports JEDI Network. Let's get right into it. Let's talk some wrestling as developing all across the wrestling platform for the WWE. TKO has dropped the hammer down, and we got a boatload of releases. But first and foremost, let me mind my manners. Salute to everyone that's watching us on all the different platforms, and my co-host Chris. What's up, Chris? How are you, man?
What up, Kev? Interesting way to start the show. Very interesting. You know, people as of right now, people are still, getting released. News is coming out, so I think this is a great topic to get right into it.
Yeah, a lot to talk about. The news started coming out. Well, you could say about a week ago, before the Royal Rumble, the release of Duke Hudson, the NXT star, the Australian NXT star, released, and then all of a sudden the list started coming out. As my goodness, we saw from Cedric Alexander now, from Isla Dawn, Blair Davenport, AOP, Paul Ellering. The list continues to get more and more longer, and a lot of people are say who to blame for. Everyone wants to point the finger on Paul Levesque, Triple H, as we got Chris the Flash in the chat. What's up, Chris? How are you, pal? Hope it's doing well. Good afternoon to you, my friend. First and foremost, when you start hearing these names, the Good Brothers came down on the name of releases. Carl Anderson is currently out on injury, but he's being released. One thing I don't like when the wrestler is injured, I don't like the release. When the wrestlers were coming from injury, I'm not a big fan of that. And again, this is, for those in the wrestling business, the IWC, they will all release Triple H. It doesn't come from Triple H. It comes from TKO, board members, and Nick Khan. They're looking at talent not being utilized. It's a money thing. What wrestlers are making money on television time, matches, quality of matches. Remember, TKO said they're going to scale back on house shows. This is the pros and cons. I remember I was having that conversation with Dan. Oh, it's great. They're not going to do house shows. I don't like the fact that you're scaling on house shows, because this is where talent, like a Blair Davenport, like a Isla Dawn, like a Good Brothers, and so forth, get those reps on the house show when people go and get entertained to see them. You can't always be running out there LA Night over and over and over in house shows, because they get burnt out 300 days a week. That's why you have the house shows. You entertain the kids. You could cater to the wrestling fans. First and foremost, what was your thoughts on these wrestlers? I mean, there's more coming out. We'll get the list. You see it scrolling underneath. Your thoughts on the wrestlers. Which one stands out to you, like fair and unfair?
So I'm not going to sit here and surprise. I'm not going to sit here and act surprised. I'm surprised that this is all happening right now. All these many people, But the people being listed, guys, we can't sit here and pretend like we cared because we did it weeks ago what they were doing on TV. The one that stands out to me is Sonya. Sonya stands out to me the most because although, you know, her faction with Zoe and Shayna, people don't give a shit about it. Excuse my language, but that's the reality. Nobody cares about it. Nobody seems to care about her. The reason why I'm surprised they let her go is because she has been doing a little bit more of the ambassador. Like she's going to these hospitals with like Eric and Ivar representing WWE, meeting the kids, having fun. I thought they were going to use her more as that. I mean, she's going every time they do local media here in Hershey for WWE coming. Who did the last two of them? Sonya Deville was the one who did the media representing WWE, talking about, hey, you guys should come to our show here in our cities. I thought they'd keep her for that, like kind of like a female Titus O'Neil. That's kind of the version of the direction I saw Sonya going, because she's good in the ring. I don't see the direction that they could have went with her, but they could have used her. Even she's a former GM. Let's not forget about that. You're telling me that you could have done something with her as somebody's like accolade or manager, but the part about her being like another Titus O'Neil ambassador. That's what shocks me about her release because I thought she was on the verge of doing that. So I would say Sonya. I'm not surprised about AOP. What up, Chris? The Good Brothers. If I'm them, I want nothing to do with WWE again. They came back, but now this is their second or third time being released. Flair Davenport. I mean, I'm not even just gonna say her. I'm gonna say this, right? I have a problem with Triple H calling up talent to the main roster when they're doing their best work. You did it with Indy Hartwell. She was the fucking NXT Women's Champion, had good momentum. You brought her up and you killed it. Blair Davenport was doing the best work. She came from AEW, left AEW because of a visa issue. It was a visa issue why she left AEW. Tony didn't want to deal with it. And she went to NXT, killed it. And you brought her up for what? She was not ready to go up to the main roster. I think she was genuinely surprised if you look back at her reaction. She's one of those people that, and Baron Corbin, right? You can't, I don't like when Triple H brings I see him doing great work in NXT. Let's bring him up. For what? You don't have any clear direction of what you guys want to do with them. You just want to, why? Let him be on NXT. Let them have the audience, the performance center, the diehard audience, like what we watch, what we do. Like let us watch them on there. Like why do you have to release him? I didn't think Blair Davenport was a bad talent. Corbin was doing his best work, and then you moved him up for what? And then you released him. That's the problem I have with some of these releases. You have these people come from NXT when they're doing the best work of their career. You bring them to the main roster with no clear direction. I think it's just Triple H doesn't want them leaving. You bring them up, and you don't want them to go to AEW. And another thing, now I think Triple H can reuse these. If some of these talent re-sign with TNA or don't really sign anywhere at all, I could see WWE being like, yo, come on, Evolve. We'll pay you dirt cheap. Way less. I can still use you, but pay you for way less. And come over and put these new talent over. Same thing with TNA. They can get paid way less in TNA, and WWE can still try to use them for a quick buck. So it's business at the end of the day. But I don't like Triple H's mindset when it comes to moving up these NXT guys because he doesn't have anything for him. But that's where I'm at the releases. Sonya Deville was the shocker in my opinion. What about you, Ken?
No, I'm with you there. I'm going to add to that. You're correct. I understand there's a shelf life when it comes to the NXT talent where they're going to go to a certain plateau and they're just going to be spinning their wheels on NXT where you want to develop younger talent, give them more TV time. But here's where I'm with you. You're made a big deal of pushing SmackDown now to 3 hours. You added us an extra hour of SmackDown on Friday nights. You're asking us to stay home another hour on Fridays. I got it. It's winter time in the Eastern or in the United States, and you're not going to do so much outdoor activity when it's 20 below. It's 20 degrees below. Very cold. You're staying mostly indoors. You're giving us 3 hours of wrestling. So we don't need to see 3 fucking segments and I hate the language, of the same wrestlers over and over. I don't see Drew McIntyre eating up 40 minutes of promo and wrestling when you have 3 freaking hours. Keep it to 20. This is why they made a big deal about bringing a mid-card title for the women's on both brands. You were going to accentuate and you were going to spotlight the women that are not getting the pushes. Yes, we know that the Rhea Ripleys, the Charlottes, the Tiffany's, they're in the main card. They're in the heavyweight title pictures. The mid card was for you to give us that accentuation spotlight on the Selena Vegas, on the Blair Davenport, on the Kiana James, who might be in some trouble. You save Katana and Carter, moving them over to SmackDown. You bought them some time because now we're moving them into another brand. That's great. Now, to me, they have no directions. They don't know what the hell they're doing with the creative when it comes to mid-card. The main, listen, everyone knows what to do with a Ferrari, a Lamborghini, the high top-end cars. They know what to do with it. They know how to showcase it. They know how to run it in the fast tracks on the Autobahn. But when it comes to the everyday cars to get you going from point A to point B, they have no clue what they're doing whatsoever when it comes to, and then you have people like JKO, who wants to cut fat, and they want to continue to get lucrative in their investment. Heads are going to start rolling. It's a business eats business type of mentality. What the WWE is doing with TKO. Then you have to really start using these. Make everyone in that company meaningful. And you were doing a great job. You were doing a great job on it. Making people feel special, moving and points, backstage promos and stuff. You got to get them on television. Utilize the television time a little more with these. Listen, the last 3 this Monday Night Raw was great, but the last other 2 before this were boring. They were snooze fest. I hated them. And I'm a big WWE guy. I couldn't stand them. The build to the Royal Rumble stunk. It was atrocious. It was terrible. You bored me to death. Not this Friday was great for a SmackDown. Last Friday, I was time for it to finish because I was tired. I was like, man, this is too. You're not compelling us with the story. Their stories, yes, but you're giving us the repetitions. Every hour, I got to see the same wrestler again. And it's a different story build. And again, I'm not saying AOP wasn't gonna move the needle where like I gotta get AOP on TV. I get it. AOP didn't cut the mustard. They did it. Let's face it. Cedric Alexander did not cut the mustard. Let him go with the Hurt Syndicate. Let him go. Let them have good luck. Enjoy. Moving on. But like you said, the one that hurts the most and pisses me off is all the NXT call-ups. There was no reason why Indy Hartwell shouldn't be on this roster. Now you have Candice LeRae who gets no pop. She's got TV time. Indy was a people's champion in NXT. If you ask anyone that goes to the Performance Center and I lived in Orlando, Florida, like myself, like a Terrence, like a Cleveland, like a Jade Movie Mania, I'm throwing the names out because they're diehards that go to NXT. They know how Indy Hartwell was a people's champion. Got over with the people. They didn't get. You telling me they didn't have anything her? She's freaking 6'2", a tall woman. You prefer the Indy Hartwell to release her over the Lilliputian of Candice LeRae. I mean, now you made a mid-card title after she's gone. The decision-making, the creative mention. Sonya Deville. Sonya Deville, I believe she was there for Tough Enough, or she's one of those that came on and stood on with the company. I understand her group is not getting no pop. Is it her fault? And also, listen, wrestling fans, I'm going to come at you as well, all of us. When these women come out to wrestle, cheer them, please. Don't put your fingers in your butt. Get up there, clap, cheer them. Even if you hate them or you don't think they're boring, boo them at least. Give them a reaction. But when you give them no reaction, don't complain and don't go on Twitter saying that the WWE is messed up for releasing them. Don't give them a boo. If you boo, go away. I prefer you saying go away, boo, than just not saying anything. When they hear crickets, and when they can hear the last person in the top row fart in creative, there's a problem. And they're not going to keep them around. They're not going to put them on TV. They're going to be no pop. So we got to give them some kind of reaction if you want, and don't complain if they get released after the fact. The Selena Vega people. Because there's a big hive, the Dakota Kai hive. You got to cheer them on. Buy their merchandise. If you want to make an impact and you want your favorites on TV, buy their merchandise. Look at the Royal Rumble winner of the men's, the top merch seller. Buy their merchandise. If you're a Selena Vega lover, because there's plenty of them on Instagram and Twitter, the Selena Hive, Selena Army, push. Why don't you push? Why don't you push? Buy her merchandise. Continue to buy her merchandise. Buy her merchandise. Because when you buy her merchandise, it shows the company you want that. You want to see them. You're willing to spend money. This is a money business. TKO is about making money. They just made a big deal and they signed with Tubi. The UFC now moving on to Tubi as well as the WWE Evolve. So they're making money deals. They don't, you know what? They don't give a crap about hashtags, or I'm not going to boycott. They care about this. Once the money doesn't come in, then you have their attention. Their people's eyebrow raises when this doesn't come in. So spend your money if you want your wrestlers to get over or not get released or push. Buy their merchandise. I got to say, I mean, look, Blair Davenport, the reason she wasn't in All Elite Wrestling, she was divorced from Ospreay. She got divorced with Ospreay. And that's why Ospreay didn't even come to the WWE or didn't even take a meeting because there's a conflict of issue there. I hate to be that person to say it. Let's call a spade a spade. She's not going All Elite Wrestling. She's not going to All Elite Wrestling. She might go back to Revolver Pro back in the UK. Maybe she'll go to some House of Glory independent scene. Perfect person to pick up. TNA would be a perfect place for Blair Davenport. With Tommy Dreamer, Gail Kim, Lance Storm, and Creative, back there with Ace Steel, they could really get the best out of Blair Davenport. Where you never know, she might return. Sometimes a one door closes, 5 of them open up for these wrestlers. Isla Dawn. It's not Isla Dawn's fault that they hot potato the women tag team from them. They did them. Isla Dawn and Alba Fire got bamboozled the minute they got brought up. They took away their NXT tag team titles where they were doing great work there. If you didn't have a program, when I mean a program, a 6 to 8 month program figured out and creative for these women with those tag titles, don't bring them up. Leave them in NXT for a couple of weeks. Leave them there. That's fine. There's nothing wrong with them staying in NXT with the tag team titles. You had a program there where they could have. You guys love breaking tag teams up. They could have went one-on-one against each other, but they rushed it, Chris. They rushed it. I don't get it. To take the titles and give it to Ronda Rousey and Shayna, where nothing happened there. It was the most ridiculous, dumbest move. Listen, not everything's gonna hit 100% in wrestling, creative wise, but there was nothing there. And then you made it. You force fed something in Scotland when you did that triple threat when you took it from Bianca and Jade to give them their titles, and then you took it back from them. It's like, what are we doing here? What are we doing here? I understand Triple H trusts his creative team, and it's not him making full decision. He listens to his writers. And people around him. Kind of makes you think, like, was Vince correct to just think on his own guts sometimes? I mean, Vince used to hear people's advice, but he still had the last say, and people will get frustrated because you didn't get your way, creative. But I when it comes to it frustrates me, Chris.
Who do you think Triple H learned from? I mean, yes.
I wish he was more like Vince. My point is, he listens to too many people, and they steer him to different directions, and it feels like it'll go nowhere.
You took the words right out of my mouth. Perfect. That's exactly what I was going to say. This is something Vince would do during this time. So, but I agree. I don't think Triple H is making these decisions. I think he's letting some of these guys. Okay, but I'm not going to say anything. Why not? You're a head of creative. Most of these writers that you're asking for advice would probably listen to you before they listen to themselves. So, I don't understand that part. I think Triple H just wants to please everybody, but in this business,
You can't please anyone. You can't please everybody because, listen, let's talk about the Royal Rumble winner. People are hating on you. Go to IWC, you swear that they just They just took a bag of puppies and threw them over a bridge by the way they reacted with both men and women winners of the Rumble. Now, let me ask this now, community. Watching what you watch on Netflix on Monday and last night, was Jey Uso the right choice?
Absolutely.
When you have a combined 45 minutes ovation between both shows of Yeeting and Encore, I didn't see Cody get that with the whoa when he was trying to finish his story.
I didn't see him. For all my sports fans out there, you know how many? When have you seen a Royal Rumble winner go on Club Shay Shay right after the Royal Rumble and had that big publicity? When have you seen a Royal Rumble winner go on the Pat McAfee show right after, and do all that publicity? Like, dude, come on, you're not gonna tell me no one wanted Jey Uso to win. Chad Johnson, Ocho, and Shannon Sharp, who probably aren't wrestling fans, are like, yeah, Yee, come on my show. Talk. I don't give a shit about wrestling, Jay, but come on Club Shay Shay and let's talk about it. Cody didn't do that. Cody didn't get that. He got ESPN. Cool. So does everybody. So does every other wrestler. They go on ESPN. I'm saying this because it's only the diehard internet fans that don't like Jey Uso to win. And I don't understand, because when it's common sense as a wrestling fan, when you see a guy so over like Jay, every single kid in the building is wearing a Yeet shirt. You have grown ass. There was a grandmother in the crowd last night on SmackDown that was recorded, and she was up on her seat, probably 80 years old, fucking going like, come on. Come on. It's nonsense. It's nonsense. Just because your favorite, my prediction winner didn't freaking win it. I do a whole, me and my buddies from college, we've been doing it for the last 3 years. We all do a little like Royal Rumble pool, and we put like $10, $20 in a pool. I lost. I'm not bitching about it. I still like the outcome. Like, it, just because you don't get what you want doesn't mean the outcome's bad. I don't understand the Jay hate. I don't. It was shocking. Don't get me wrong. Nobody expected him to win. I didn't expect him to win. But we're not going to sit here and be like, oh, this is Royal Rumble's ruined. No. I don't buy that shit.
No, of course. As salute to Heather, right, who's joining us. Heather, I hope you're doing well. Hope everything is going good. Appreciate you with the comment. Give me Jay and Cody. As we all know, we will get Jay and Gunther. But come on, Jay is now the biggest babyface in the WWE. He's the perfect reason to turn Cody heel. That's eventually down the line. I think so, Heather. I don't think. But the way things are happening with TKO, that they got to see money. They got to see money right away. I know they're there to make money. Then I'm there to make friends. Maybe they'll start. This is the one thing that I'm worried. They're going to start rushing storylines and rushing to it, hot potatoing, because of the investors and money, people's attention span. And we're really not going to really, at least the old folks or the older school wrestling fans that appreciates a good storyline that drags out with a good ending. We're not going to get it no more because of it's just the world we live in. We're probably going to get the whole Cody turn heel right away because we got to make money. And sometimes for good, wrong, or indifferent, time will give us the reason if they were right or wrong. And that we got Tony joining us here. Tony, Jay and Cody makes the best match. Cody loses the belt and he could turn heel and give another story. There you go. Everyone wants to see that there. And listen, I'm one of those that say I'm going to sit back and enjoy the ride. Absolutely. I'm going to enjoy it, but I'm going to give my criticism or my dislike or what makes me uncomfortable with storylines or what doesn't resonate or sit well with me. My opinion is watching wrestling, through my eyes, from my sense, from my lenses. Going back to these releases, unfair for Giovanni Vinci. Giovanni Vinci was just getting I was there. I sat there Tuesday nights. Go to Performance Center, go to Full Sail, get on that line, get on that bus, get ushered in. And I saw Giovanni Vinci repackage, return to NXT 2.0, return to NXT, doing the great work, moonsaults, getting into tremendous shape because he was a little pudgy. And then he got into that phenomenal shape that he was in NXT. Then he got called up. We were excited and happy for him when he showed up with Imperium. I don't understand where the hell creative went, where the hell they were thinking of separating Ludwig and Giovanni Vinci, because those suckers should have been tag team champions over it. They are more compelling. Watch their stuff from NXT UK and for a brief time they were on Black and Gold. They're as a tag teams, those guys are 5 times better than DYI. Yes. DYI, those midgets, no. Giovanni and Ludwig as a tag team should have been tag team champions. I don't know, again, what the hell they're doing in creative. What was the big bright light bulb with Giovanni Vinci as a singles? And listen, I don't see at all Ludwig Kaiser lighting it up as a singles either. I don't see him. You know what? Some guys go together right. When I see Gunther, I know they want to establish Gunther as his own man, but there is something with a charm when you have Ludwig Kaiser come out there and become the hype man for Gunther. The ring handed out. I like that. I like that presentation. I like that he has henchmen, but they decide they're going to take that away. Gunther's, I got to give him credit. He is swimming on his own, but I think there would have been more of a mystique if he had his henchmen or that Gunther, that Kaiser holding the microphone. But everybody, oh no, Gunther, Kaiser has to turn on Gunther, but they turn on Giovanni. Giovanni now had nothing to do, nothing whatsoever, and now he's released. A potential talented wasted. This guy wasn't going to be the world heavyweight champion. I get that. He wasn't going to be the face of the company. I get that. But you still need those guys in the mid card to entertain us, to get those, not the filler, but just get the company and the show progressing and moving forward. You're telling me DIY or Minnesota City Machine Guns versus Imperium would have been a matchup that you guys wouldn't want to see? Because all I hear about the Black and Gold, everybody wants to get on their hands and knees and worship the Undisputed Era. But remember, without the Imperium, there weren't really going to be that much of a rivalry with Undisputed Era. Remember that. It always takes 2 to tangle. And they were also great dancers that danced with the Undisputed Era, which they didn't give that opportunity for Imperium and the Undisputed Era as well in the WWE, but we would have loved to seen them just book correctly. There's so much missed opportunities there. AOP, they wasted his time. Again, he's a Hall of Fame manager. He's going to go in the Hall of Fame. I didn't understand why Paul Ellering was in the WWE. I didn't understand why he made that second come around. Was it a charity event that they were giving out money? I understand what Paul Ellering didn't make sense. When you put him with Karrion Kross, where Scarlett is a manager, mouthpiece of Karrion. Karrion speaks his own, and then I could understand if AOP would have been muscle for Karrion Kross. When you bought the old man, it was too much. It was too much. Too many people making a stake. It's like what we got going on here. I understand where you got to get rid of that there. I mean, that's what I got to say about these releases. Duke Hudson, another one. Duke Hudson, the gambler, that poker player. He went through that difficult time when they took away Persia, aka the Statlander, away from her. Then he was like meddling, had really nothing. He got that Chase U gimmick. That's over. You could have had a manager. I always say this time and time again, Chris, it's time to start making the next wave of managers in wrestling. There's time. Sonya Deville.
New wrestlers in wrestling. It's time for. Can anybody please sit there, think about, and tell me what stars has Triple H created?
Well, he's creating Jey Uso right now. He's creating Jey Uso amongst the Titans. Because for him winning the Royal Rumble with all those Titans in the Rumble, Roman, Seth, McIntyre, he's creating his own in Jey Uso. He's also creating a guy who got 300 million views for Spearing and Moron by the name of Braun Breaker. He's creating Breaker. I got it. Let's flip the coin and let's show there's 2 sides to the coin. There's the good and the bad. Let's also talk about the good as we're ridiculing Triple H as well.
That's why I brought that up, because people, I've seen a lot of people on. I listen. I don't do Twitter Spaces, but I listened to one earlier because I wanted to see what a lot of people in the wrestling community
Absolutely, feedback.
talking about releases, and one guy said a bunch of the guys were saying how like Triple H. When has any Triple H created any stars? All these guys have been in the company for 10 plus years, like Jey, for example. But when
You could say Braun is HBK's creation, but he's being booked with the Intercontinental title on the Triple H's umbrella.
Right. Exactly. And when you had with Jey Uso, him and Jimmy were just Rikishi's sons. They were just tag teams. Now,
but they also were on the FCW into the black and gold transition as well. So and also that was mostly Booker T you want to give credit to, because they were on the Houston on the Reality of Wrestling. So there's a lot of hands involved when you want to break down the lineage or who's coaching who when it comes to wrestling. Triple H is Johnny Gargano and Ciampa. That's a Triple H thumbprint. Because, or let me ask this, Chris. Let me ask this, and let me ask the internet community. Are we not giving Triple H or don't want to give him credit? Because whenever Seth Rollins, that was Dusty's kids. It's Finn Balor. No, that was Dusty. But Triple H was above Dusty, working hand in hand on black and gold. So are we being selective on when we want to give Triple H credit or only he?
That's exactly because who was working with Triple H in the Authority? Who was, I mean, Triple H, look, Vince was booking the ship at that point. I get that.
Right.
But you're next to Triple H, who's the closest thing to Vince McMahon, other than Vince McMahon. I mean, Triple H, I mean, come on. Look, I get that Triple H had, people could say, Triple H didn't make the bloodline, blah, blah, blah. I understand that. And you can say Vince made a lot of these guys, okay, but it's with Triple H's creative that he sees more in these guys that Vince did, and we saw more in these guys than Vince did. Triple H is now just giving us what we wanted for a while, what he thought was good for a while, and I think it's his booking that's elevating these guys. I think if Vince is still there, Jey Uso isn't where he is right now. He's getting held back. We still get Charlotte probably, but we're not getting we're not getting Braun. I don't think he does a good job with Braun. Family past. Vince is that type of guy. The Steiners. We're making him Bronson Steiner. No, Triple H is good at. Okay, this is who you are. This is who we can make you be. And if you're a second generation wrestler like Braun, this is who we can help you become, other than Rick Steiner's son or Scott Steiner's nephew. So I'm giving there's a lot of things that Triple H does wrong, but he does more right than wrong, in my opinion.
I tend to agree with you on that statement. I think he does. If you took the pros and cons, there's more pros in Triple H than cons, than if you compare him to Vince McMahon. Absolutely. If you compare to Vince McMahon, especially the late Vince, the late booking, the last 8 to 10 years of Vince McMahon's booking, if you put the pros and cons, there was more cons than pros. Yes, I think we could argue, or we could agree on that one there, on those there. Definitely could put the list down there. Listen, I think this is the way I see the way, and this is gonna hit you because to me, Bill Cowher was a Super Bowl winning coach, and he gave the Steeler organization, and when he stepped down to Mike Tomlin. Yep. Tomlin is still considered a hell of a coach. Yep. And I think Vince McMahon to is Cowher to over to Mike Tomlin, or Bill Parcells to Bill Belichick type of deal. They both, but I went that analogy to you because it resonates you, so you're a Pittsburgh Steelers fan. That's why I bought that analogy there. Everyone doesn't. There's a lot of faults with Mike Tomlin. Some of the fan base can't stand him, but outside of the fan base, they appreciate what Mike Tomlin brings to that organization: winning culture, winning and all that good stuff. There, and that's the analogy. You know, I want to bring it to Super Bowl too, because it's Super Bowl weekend. To the football analogy, I think that's what we see.
Yep.
What's going on right now in professional wrestling when it comes to the creative. When the WWE there, it doesn't mean that they're perfect. They have imperfections in this business. You know, with certain talents. I'm afraid of Kiana James. I know she's got some injuries, some stuff, but look, Carl Anderson had a shoulder surgery and he got released.
I'm scared for Shayna.
Shayna.
I know that's one of Triple H's. That's one of Triple H's golden girls too. But I'm gonna be honest.
But he has to book them. He has to book her. Book her in something.
I'm saying, if you're not gonna use her on TV, Triple H, do me a favor and send her away so she can go on GCW Bloodsport. I don't watch GCW.
And he does. Shayna Baszler has two fights on Bloodsport.
Use Shayna and book her. Let her do that every week. Let her go. I mean, she came from NXT unstoppable. She transitioned from MMA. She was Ronda Rousey's bitch. And Triple H made her into a legit superstar and a freaking threat. Like, I believe Shayna was beating the hell out of these people at some points because she has that MMA background. She has that. I know who she is, but before WWE, I watched The Ultimate Fighter. I watch UFC. I know what this. So, I'm scared for her because she has no direction. She's a part of the same faction as Sonya Deville. There's going to be more. I'm not surprised if there's more. That's why I keep refreshing my phone because I wouldn't be surprised if there's more releases coming out in the next. Yes,
there's more. Heather, yes. Once again, let's go through the list again. You have Isla Dawn, the Good Brothers. We also lost Sonya Deville. Cedric Alexander, Duke Hudson. I mean, it's a long list of wrestlers that are not part of the WWE right now, and they say there's more names to be coming out soon. You know. And we're not going to stand here saying that, that was it's not about going on their soapbox and saying they were being booked correctly. They weren't being booked at all. Isla Dawn, rarely seen. Good Brothers injured. You know, Blair Davenport, stop and stop. She didn't I would have loved to see her into the mid-card title type of deal there. I believe she was in the triple threat for the tournament. They didn't win. Put aside. I get it. We understand, but you got 3 hours of programming on Monday, well, 2.5 now, and 3 hours on Friday. We got to start finding or putting a match here and there for these women or these wrestlers that are not being seen. And again, this is another thing. You don't get pushed, you get opportunities. That's said by Vince. That's said by a lot of wrestlers behind the scene. You hear them in interviews that, there's no push. You get opportunities, and you got to make the most of your opportunities. And they got to make the most of the opportunities. They got to get opportunities. Selena Vega has to make most of her opportunities now. I like what she did on Friday Night SmackDown. Said, I'm here now. That title will look great around my waist. That's an opportunity. Chelsea Green, when she first started, she made the most of her opportunities. 30 seconds, 10 seconds. She even had garbage dumped on her in the suite. Made the most of her opportunities. They got to make most of our opportunities here. Even if they get 10 minutes, that's why Akira Kurosawa is still around. He makes the most out of his opportunities. The most lamest thing kept him in the WWE, just going with a piece of weight and doing a little dance. When he goes, he's so nasty. That kept him around. R-Truth. I didn't think R-Truth sticks around for so long. Look at that segment he had yesterday. It was only 30 seconds, but it was funny, it was entertaining, and it got you. He's kept around. You got to make the most of your opportunities. Selena, Dakota, she gets an opportunity, she gets injured. Again, I'm not going to blame. Injuries happen, but it happens too much for her. That happens too much for her. That's another one that I'm very, very concerned. Okay, I'm confused. Who released these names? These wrestlers themselves are saying they're no longer with the WWE. These wrestlers themselves are saying they're not longer with the WWE themselves. They're on Instagram. They mostly do a lot of their releases. When it comes from Instagram, for some reason, I tend to find it more truthful than Twitter or X. when Isla Dawn.
Isla Dawn,
Watchers.
she on her Instagram story, chapter close, whatever. See you in 90. And I think they do that because, you know, obviously there's so many parody accounts on X, and there's too much fake news going around. So I appreciate when they can do it on Instagram, but I'm more curious to know, like, obviously we probably won't unless, you know, Sean Ross Sapp posts anything, but when did this take place? Did TKO know that they were doing the cuts today? Was this last minute? I don't know, because when you just had Isla Dawn win her first tag team match in her home country less than a year ago, or around a year ago, you had Sonya Deville just in the Royal Rumble. You couldn't have had anybody else take her spot if you were going to release her the next week. You know what I mean? So weird timing, I guess, would be my.
No, that's what TKO does. They did a bunch of releases in the UFC as well for fighters, and they did. That's what they do. That's the hard rip of a band-aid of a TKO group. That's why a lot of people were. There was a group that didn't want TKO to purchase the WWE for those kind of reasons, because they're all about analytics and money. They're not about, well, this person, and they'll rip the band-aid off without no remorse, because it's a money thing, it's a numbers thing. Your number came up on this analytics chart and you're gone. That's a tough one. That's a tough one.
I also had a problem, Kev, because these are, how do we know? We don't know. These TKO guys could give a shit less about wrestling.
They don't care about them.
They're focused on the UFC. The UFC's real. The UFC's bringing them probably more dollars than WWE. That's why I had a problem with TKO purchasing WWE. Because shit like this.
I don't know that. Okay, I have another one. So, $64,000 question. What does the WWE do around another round after WrestleMania, like they always do? They're going to do the same thing. They're going to do the same thing. They're going to do the same thing. Those that I made the you know what, Katana and Chance Carter, they moved over to SmackDown. If they don't get booked or moved or seen, they could be one of them on the chopping block. They could be ready to go out the door. Kiana James could be out the door. You know, we let's talk about some of these failure ones. You know, Cameron Grimes. He had a hell of a money gimmick in NXT. He got up to the main roster, didn't even get TV time. You brought JBL back. And I think he teamed up with Corbin. When was it when he came back and he managed? That was dumb. I was saying, you know what? Cameron Grimes' gimmick was he made money on crypto. He gambled. He made an intelligent guess, and he became a millionaire. He got money stacking to the moon. That was his gimmick, to the moon, because of crypto money. JBL was stocks. Why? You had a chance to JBL to be a manager or get Cameron Grimes over, introduce him to they could have teamed him with Corbin, but no. Those little tweaks, they don't do.
Yeah, and I remember during that time where I sat front row at a live event, and I asked Corbin. I was sitting front row. I said, Corbin, where the hell is JBL? Like he was walking back to the ring, and the lights turned off, and they were getting ready for the next match. And Corbin was walking back to the ring, and I was sitting front row, right where the wrestlers come out. I was like, Corbin, where the fuck is JBL? He was like, probably out somewhere playing golf. I don't know. You don't even know where your manager's at? Like, come on. I mean, I just like that. It just didn't work with Corbin.
Tony thinks Tangaloa got released. I don't know if he did. He's injured right now, but would it surprise me? I don't think so.
It would surprise the hell out of me. Because
people like him. People, even though with all his stuff, people like Tangaloa.
Yeah, but Tama Tonga's the star. Yeah.
I know it, but Tangaloa is still comedy though. In the Samoan, just him being out there, because you don't know what the hell he's gonna do. He's intriguing. He's intriguing.
Yes, I like Carlito too. I mean,
Carlito's not being used.
Yeah, he's one that the fans wanted when they came back to Puerto Rico. Remember when they came back to Puerto Rico, and all the fans wanted him back. And they haven't done shit. They stuck him in the Judgment Day. Oh, that's cool. Oh, whoa. They stuck it like a little comedy. It worked for 3 weeks. and then he made that that Asian Chinese joke, whatever. No one gave a shit about. No one gave a shit about him after that.
I don't know what happened there. I think he froze for a second. Yeah.
Oh, me? Oh, hold on.
Okay, now you're back.
Right.
Yeah, Carlito's another name out there. Carlito's another name that's out there that we don't know, if he's going to stay or not stay. They're actually trimming the fat. I know I saw a post. How the hell Rich Holland is still with the WWE? Rich Holland, be honest with that'd be a stupid move if they get rid of Rich Holland. Because Rich Holland he's wrestling week after week. He garnishes a lot of heat. People don't like him. That's what you want. When you get no reaction, no pop, is where you're going to be in danger. If you get even the reaction of heat, of like go away heat, is still reactionary heat. It's still good. Rich Holland still is an important part of the WWE who shouldn't be let go. Just because you don't like him doesn't mean, look, just because I'm not a face-to-face. Cody brings a lot of eyeballs, and there's a price for Cody. I'm not a big fan of Cody Rhodes, but he's still in. Drew McIntyre. Let me take that back. I can't stand Drew McIntyre. I think he's boring. Everyone knows my stance on Drew, but that would be a huge mistake to release Drew McIntyre because I don't like him. Bullshit. He gathers the heat. There's people that love Drew McIntyre. They love the way he works. I appreciate what he does, but he's not my cup of coffee. But he is very important to the WWE storyline. What he's doing doesn't mean they have to release them because you don't like him. I'm not calling for his release. I just don't. Just not my wrestler that I like. But he is very, very uber important to the WWE story. Plain and simple. Just because Nikita Lyons. Now, I could say Nikita's in some trouble because she's haven't seen on TV. Start and stop, the injuries. What is that? Tell me a wrestling move or a match that you say I gotta watch with Nikita Lyons. Besides her big kaboots doing a split. That's it. Or her tatas. There's nothing about Nikita Lyons in her in-ring or even her promos that stops you besides her physique. Let's totally be honest. There isn't. She could be in some danger.
I'm reading somebody else who could be in some danger too. Apparently, there's a lot of speculation. Somebody of that Ilya might get released soon.
I could see that. I could see that. I could see that.
Not official, but that's the rumors that I'm seeing right now. Ilya.
I could see that because not for nothing, since he's been over from NXT UK, this guy's always hurt. This guy always gets injured. If he doesn't have visa issues, which the WWE can't have any control over that. He had a couple visa issues for a bit, but then he's always injured. There's always an injury with Ilya Dragunov. He puts on some great matches, absolutely. He puts on some good matches, but he also does a lot of no selling. You look at his matches, he does a lot of no selling in that ring. And if you're injured a lot, not available, this and this and that, and you don't sell, you might get a couple of wrestling talents or agents frustrated. I can see where Ilya Dragunov. It's a tough one because there's going to be a lot of backlash. But I can see that's a tough one. That's like a last resort.
People are already saying if they release Ilya, I'm done with Triple H, blah blah.
He could go to All Elite, and he'll go to All Elite. He'll have a great career. Great career. He'll fit perfect. They could do 6 Canadian Destroyers, and he could no sell it like he does all the time in NXT. He will be perfect, and people will love him. He could actually, be honest with you, I'm not being sarcastic. I'm being realistic, being honest from the heart. He would actually help move the needle for All Elite Wrestling. I think he will. I think if he does go to All Elite Wrestling, Ilya Dragunov could help because he fits that style of wrestling. He will fit that style. Wrestling. Go out there and wrestle. Don't have to cut too much promos. And I think he fits what they look for. That's the kind of wrestling line wrestler that company likes. The sickos. AEW, WWE, another company has nothing to do well with the tag team storylines. That's another thing. They have a lot of time, Tony. They have, again, 5.5 hours between Monday and Fridays to give us tag team compelling story. They're trying now. We saw last night.
Tag team wrestling anymore.
They're trying to a degree. I think it's the writers and the bookers don't know how to do a storyline when it comes to tag team.
We have what? 3 freaking like the 3 tag team, like I'm seeing rumors of WrestleMania where it could be DIY versus Street Profits versus the Motor City Machine Guns. Those are all the fucking tag teams we have.
Now you got Pretty Deadly, Lotarios in there.
The War Raiders. I love their work, but who on Raw is legitimate contenders?
No, and now you got a tag team that could be legitimate, but you have them both wrestling for the NXT World Title in 8-Town Down, and then everybody wants them to turn on one another. So it's also the wrestling fans. Also, every time there's a great tag team, turn on them. Oh, they need to split them. They need to turn on each other. Montez should go out and turn on Dawkins. That's another issue, though, that we have when it comes. And the thing is, it's a little bit of the WWE's fault for programming not to give too much crap about tag team. Everybody wants to get taken, or that moment of a tag team partner going through the barbershop window. I think everybody likes that. Everybody's stuck or going in or copy, or they're stuck on the record going back again, everybody wants to see that Shawn Michaels taking Marty Jannetty and throwing him through the glass window. And I think whenever there's a tag team that has a little bit of success or popularity, they're waiting for that. They're waiting for that replica. And I don't know if I think to me it hurt it. It did great because we got the greater one of, you could say, arguably the greatest wrestler or Mount Rushmore in our generation is Shawn Michaels, but it kind of hurted the tag team. Look at what it did, because now everybody wants to see Shawn kick Marty Jannetty on every tag team. That sucks. That's a tough one. Because we saw that when all tag teams split up. We saw the Steiner brothers split when Rick Steiner Scott Steiner turned on Rick. Mm-hmm. The only tag team that I don't think we ever seen turn against each other was Hawk and Animal. I don't believe they did. Correct me if I'm wrong, wrestling fans. If I don't remember Hawk and Animal having a dissension where they went after one another, teamed up again, fought against.
Issues with like substance.
I don't think so.
There's nothing on the screen.
And speaking of which, I can't stand the 3 SmackDowns for 3 hours. The last hour is a slog. No matter how good it could be, I can't get through it. Hey, listen, last night we didn't stick around for 10 minutes of recap because we were exhausted. We were tired. And it's not because of the product. It wasn't because the wrestling was not good and the show wasn't moving along. It was moving along quick. It's because on Friday night, when you're a 40 plus hour worker, it hits you like a ton of bricks sitting for 3 hours watching a program. The whole entire 40 plus hours of work week hits you like a ton of bricks. And you're there like, oh my God, and you feel fatigued. And it hits you there. And I think that's something, yes, SmackDown, one of the things, I was very excited. I was one of those that wanted to see it to go 3 hours. I feel like, you know what, with mid-card titles and so forth, and watching it for a month now, it's a little bit long in the tooth because of the other factors. I'm going to be honest with you. It is a little long in the tooth because of the other factors, not because of the entertainment or the creative or the action. It's because of the circumstance, the long week. And I know Monday is a little bit of a different thing. Monday, yeah, you're going back to work, you're returning, but you're still well rested for the weekend. So a lot of times people rest on Sunday. They get up a little later if you're not going to church, yada, yada, all that good stuff. And you work the first day of the week, but you still have energy because you're able to stay up to watch the 3 hours of Raw. I watched it last night solo, but there was too many dead spots. I was disappointed in the Memphis crowd. The Memphis crowd was a wrestling territory for decades. The crowd is still sucked. The crowd was okay. I thought the crowd was okay. They were in for the Jey Uso. Of course, they gave him 18 minutes of just phenomenal yeeting. The other stuff in between, they could have helped. There were a little bit spots there, and then when Jay closed out at the end, that was cool. The solo spot at the end was a good spot to see Solo Sikoa return. Again, now I regret not picking up the phone. My wife told me to go to the supermarket to go see Solo Sikoa on Monday when he was with his family. But again, shout out my wife, she got to see Solo. I probably would have had to tee him coming back on Friday, but it is what it is. Missed opportunities, right? I mean, now I feel like an idiot because now she says, see, you would have picked up the phone. You would have got to see Solo.
I've had those missed opportunities with pro wrestlers around my area. And
out in the wild. He was out in the wild, man. Just
here, I'm not making that same mistake.
But But it got Solo Sikoa returning. Now let's talk about SmackDown. We talked about the releases. Let's talk about the action that happened in the week here. We got a good hour of all the releases. We got all that out of our chests. You know, hopefully you guys got it off your chest. The psychiatry tape session is over.
If there's anything that breaks out, I'll say. Because I'm refreshing every other minute to see who's getting it.
Yeah, if anything breaks, we'll let you know immediately there. Not for the middle of the show. The middle dragged. Yes, the middle were a little long in the tooth, Heather. I totally agree with you there. The Carmelo Hayes Tozawa match, although it had me on my edge of my seat because I was like, what the hell happens if Carmelo loses to Tozawa? And I said maybe because he's going to be considered a first-round bust, but did it really look good if Carmelo would have lost to Tozawa with all these releases? I mean, I know they're not going to release Carmelo Hayes. They won't release Carmelo Hayes, but damn, and you thought, what happened if you would have lost to Tozawa? Where his morale, where the character, could they ever build a Carmelo Hayes back if you would have lost to Tozawa on SmackDown? They have to call them a layup. That would have been interesting. I'm glad they didn't go that route. I'm glad Carmelo won, and Carmelo needs those opportunities. Carmelo's had opportunities, and I'm not going to lie. He's hit them out of the park. His matches with Cody Rhodes, it's not his fault that he was booked against the first title defense for the Undisputed World Champion after defeating the champion that was 1,400 days as champion. That's a tough one for Carmelo Hayes to win. You know, he hasn't been put in the opportunities to be successful with going over with pins, with victories, but he's gone over with his in-ring. Carmelo has gone over with his in-ring ability.
He's also gone over with his slang backstage. You know, you're like a layup, like that. That's really good. And real quick, I'm not going to interrupt, but
no, go for it.
He's doing a good job of like, this guy's coming to SmackDown. Oh nah, who like with Priest like that? I enjoy that.
His facial reactions, his reactions.
He gives him character. Like nah, really? Like I gotta fight you. Like okay, like you can like it's realistic. Like I enjoy that. But go ahead. I just want to point that out.
No, it's realistic. It's because he's giving you that raw emotion backstage, and Carmelo's giving you that reaction. And Carmelo is one of those talents. I had the privilege of seeing him develop. And then for 2.0, I know the best. I know what Carmelo gives. Carmelo, phenomenal wrestler, getting better with the microphone, getting the opportunities on SmackDown. Hope they continue to give him the opportunities, and he continues knocking it apart. His 6 matches with Andrade were great. That was something for the fall. That would, you know what, you have to study. Why wasn't this even more accentuated? Or focused on more, because those matches were strong. We never got the seventh final match. We never got the final 7th match. But I would like to, I'm also afraid of Andrade. Andrade came in with a lot of steam, momentum, kind of fizzling a little bit. Now he's divorced. Also, Dragon Lee. Well, Dragon Lee, it wasn't because of creative. There's some issues outside of the wrestling business with his family, with his wife. You know, they were expecting, there was a troubled pregnancy or a sensitive pregnancy. But thank God that the Dragon Lee family successfully, brought into the world their baby. Not to put their business out but everything is well. Everything's all well now. He's the speed champion. Now we can still go back, focus on Dragon Lee's push and creative to go forward. Hopefully he gets going for him, and they give him the opportunities for Dragon Lee. I want to see that with Carmelo Hayes, that push, that initiative, opportunities for him. And I hope they do that going forward. Let me go. Let's see this one. I'm going to say this. My money is still on Trick going over on Melo when he finally gets called up. To me, Trick is a natural charisma. Trick, when he gets called up, I think that's why I think, Heather, that's why I was thinking Melo, if he lost to Tozawa Kazawa, you could have still saved him, because he would have been, and he should still be considered a first-round bust for SmackDown. Yeah. And then when you get your first-round pick for the draft, it'll be Trick Williams. Last year's first-round bust versus this year's first-round pick, you have a feud. You have a storyline when it comes to that. Kind of around NFL season, when they come to the NFL draft, you can have that storyline related, and you're off and running with Trick and Melo and over the first-round pick in the draft for SmackDown. You could do all those things. You could run off with that there. Here's one thing I'm going to say about the releases. You see how WWE or any wrestling company, if they feel they have to release a talent, they release it at all hours of the night, midnight, 1 o'clock, currently now. Whenever they'll text them, email them, whatever way they. I'm gonna ask this: shouldn't it be fair if a wrestler wants its release to be allowed to go and work elsewhere? Because
Yeah.
you're seeing Ray Phoenix being held hostage. We're seeing Ricky Stark not be able to work, wrestle, other wrestlers, and not just the AEW wrestlers, other wrestlers from other companies. When they ask for the release, they get denied. But meanwhile, is it fair for the company to release that wrestler when they feel like it? But when the wrestler wants to go elsewhere for opportunities, doesn't allow it?
It's bullshit, because I think a lot of these companies, like Tony Khan, for example, he's doing this so WWE doesn't get a hold of Ricky Starks. Imagine if WWE got a hold of Ricky Starks. That would piss off Tony. That would destroy Tony. And same thing, right? Imagine like who wants to get like all these 90 days that WWE, like, I don't like that. I don't understand that, because unless you're like Indy Hartwell, she could have been done something with AEW months ago. She could have been done something, but you have to wait 90. I don't get that. I think it's they don't want talent going straight to the competitors. I know people don't like the word competitors because they're not competing, but let's just use that word for now, right? They don't want these wrestlers to go over to the other company right away. That's just my guess, and especially on like when Tony, like, why am I gonna give you a release? You want to go to WWE? Like, I know it. Like, that's where you want to go, and he's doing his best to make sure they don't get him. I think it's bullshit on both parties, because like if I get fired from my job, like if any, like it's like a job, you get fired. You're not gonna tell me that I can't go out and find a job for 90 days, for 3 months. That's not happening. I don't like that. I think it's bad. I think it's bad business to have those in the contract.
Okay. The reason why they do I'm speculating. I think the reason why they do the 90 days, they get paid, by the way, those 90 days. They're not telling you you're staying at home getting no income coming in. You're still getting your salary for 90 days. They're giving you 90 days to get your ducks in order. You're getting paid still. You're getting money coming into your house from your contract. The reason I think they do the 90 days to get rid of your copyright or anything that handles that belongs on the company, you know, for merchandising, marketing, and all that stuff, then after the 90 days, you don't come out part of the company. You're not behind the brand of the WWE. And I think that's why they do the 90 days for that, so they could get you off of X, not part of the all that stuff. Also, there's also certain things with workman's comp and all that other stuff from state to state or from country to country. Again, unless of your expiring contract. I believe the one person that has an expiring contract on all that is Sonya Deville. I think Sonya Deville is immediately done. They're not renewing her contract. It's not a release. It's a not renewing. Then there's a contract that's to come up, and they're not going to give her a new deal. Now, it doesn't mean that these wrestlers cannot return. They could return on a lesser deal. We saw that on TNA. TNA went under the radar with this. TNA in December went under the radar like this. They did that with Jay Chung, Josh Alexander's wife. They asked her to take a less pay, and her contract expired. Not there. PCO, the same thing with PCO. He also had a contract that came to an expiration date, and he did not. They didn't re-sign him. They didn't give him a new contract. He's a free agent, and so forth. Trent Seven from TNA, also Kushida. They also, they all had that contract. Or ask them to take a reduced amount of money. They'll give you a new contract on a lesser money deal, and they decided not to, so they let the contract expire. That's nothing wrong with that. The 90 days is for since WWE is it's a rebranding thing for names and all that good stuff. Back in the 90s, let me see this. Back in the 90s, your stock dropped, you came back, got rebranded a different name, gimmick. That doesn't always work. You're right, it doesn't always work, Heather, but it's a different time now where Triple H embraces you to use your government name or whatever ring name that you want to start with in the independent scene. We allow Ricochet to go to AEW using Ricochet. He could have said, no, you have to be King Puma. You can't use Ricochet. That's a WWE entity, property. Allowing that. Or vice versa. We all know that Jade Cargill her name would have been changed. Yeah, because she is no longer with TNA Wrestling. Look at the roster page. He's not there anymore with Trent Seven. Yeah. Unfortunately, they're not there. They were asked to take lesser money to be part of the roster, and they decided no, they want their money or their release or come to a disagreement. Their contract expires and they went their merry way. Also, guys, remember, if I were to tell you right now, kind of in the sports world, you're trading Blair Davenport and Sonya Deville, and you're getting Jordan Grace, I think people will trade that. And if you're talking about trading, if this was a basketball or football or baseball trade, you're trading those two talent for her, I think a lot of people say yes. Yeah. You're giving me Jordan Grace in order for or Penta for the two Good brothers. I think people will say, I'll trade you that in a heartbeat. So kind of think of it that way, as a trade for wrestling, for baseball, kind of there. Yeah. Yeah, but Jade came over with WWE, wanted Jade's name to be rec. Yeah, but that's because it was Triple H, Heather. I'm telling you, Vince McMahon was in charge of the WWE when if they would have brought in Jade Cargill, they would have changed her name. You know that Vince wouldn't change her name. Vince didn't care about what they did in other companies. Vince only wanted to care about what he wanted to make them made, what names he wanted to give them. He would have changed the name. But Triple H, that's why we appreciate Triple H. He will give them the names. He will allow them to have the names that got them over and got them recognized. Maybe Julia would have been changed to something different. Asuka. Asuka, wasn't she Kana before she became Asuka?
I think if Seth Rollins came into the business with Triple H in charge, he'd still be Tyler Black.
Yeah, it'd be Tyler Black. Absolutely. Absolutely. He'll probably be Tyler Black. He probably will be. He definitely will be Tyler Black. And they'll be, and maybe we would have had El Generico.
Yeah, and Kevin Steen.
But all in all, let's talk about Monday Night Raw. I'm not going to go through everything there. I want to talk about the opening segment of Monday Night Raw. What a hell of a Monday Night Raw with the segment there. Had Jey, look at that. I did a McIntyre. Had Jimmy Uso. I wanted to do that on purpose because Drew McIntyre stepped on eggs. And eggs are expensive, by the way. That $15 a cart, and McIntyre just stepped on 3 dozens last night on Raw, on SmackDown. Look at that. I did that on purpose. I'm doing it on purpose, guys. I'm trying to botch it. I'm trying to walk with me there. Let's go to Raw. Let's go on Raw tonight here for Monday. Your thoughts on that promo? Boy, you had your sugar puffs today because you're like bouncing like a jelly bean.
Yeah, my fridge is right here. I'm getting stuff in and out, putting stuff in and out. But no, Raw was good. I didn't catch the full. I caught the full show late because Monday nights I'm pretty busy for school. But I enjoyed it. That's when we really saw Jey. We saw that really. How do I word
Jimmy?
Like, No,
I said not Jimmy.
Not Jimmy. When Jey came out and you saw the crowd, like that introduction, like that right there just made me feel like, okay, like it's strictly just the IWC that doesn't like Jey winning this Rumble.
Exactly.
I'm he last night he still didn't make his decision. I think Monday Night Raw this week he will. The show was good. I didn't think it was bad. Nothing really stood out to me. But other than I will say Charlotte, I'm kind of surprised to see the reaction she got. I believe she got really booed at the building. And that I was shocked because a lot of people wanted her back, including myself. A lot of people wanted her to win the Rumble, including myself, and it happened. So it's weird, right? We get some people want something and they get it with Charlotte, and now they're boo. And then we get something unexpected with Jey, and most of the people are like, yeah, but it's still boo from the internet. So it's I don't care about crowd reactions. That just stood out to me that Charlotte got booed because I wonder what. It's just it's so weird to me. Half the audience on TV likes it, doesn't like it. Half the audience at home, it's so opposite. That stood out because I thought Charlotte would get cheered. She's back. She, in my opinion, I'm gonna say this with my chest, is the greatest women's wrestler of this generation. Is Charlotte Flair. So I was surprised. I was surprised for her reaction. I think people need to give Charlotte more respect. Like I said, she's the greatest female wrestler of all time in this generation. Not because her last name is Flair, because she can do the move. She does moves and she can say and do stuff nobody in the women's division can. So we need to put some respect on Charlotte. I don't think she'll be on Raw that much. I think her focus will be on Tiffany on SmackDown. But I would say the Charlotte Flair promo stood out to me because a lot of mixed reaction. But the matches were good. I thought the matches were good. The placements were good. The main event was okay. Charlotte has been gone for a year and a half, but we don't forget Charlotte wins. LOL. I have never been a fan of Charlotte Flair. She's already had 15 grand total under her belt, and she's 38. That's why I think she's the greatest of all time. I look, Heather. We could argue that Charlotte is being force fed because she has been gone for a year and a half. She wins the Rumble. I get that. To me, I still think it's the right move because Charlotte, with the women, I don't want to say the women's division's lacking, but before the Rumble, when we saw Alexa, Charlotte, Nikki come back, we were just getting Rhea and Liv every single week, or we were getting Tiffany and Nia, or whatever. It was repetitive. Nothing. No one new, different to be in. Charlotte hasn't been in that position in a long time. She dropped her title at Rhea on 39. We haven't seen her since. So I think this is good for Charlotte. I think she'll win the title again. But that's kind of how I feel in Charlotte. I think she's the greatest. And she's gonna have a good run, even though we haven't seen her in a year and a half. You know, it's fresh, it's new, because we've seen the same women's storylines for the past year, in my opinion. Go ahead, Kev.
All right. One thing about that, I'm gonna comment about Charlotte here. What we got with Charlotte, we got a Ford Raptor with new set of tires. And we know what the Ford Raptor does. And she's getting a new set of tires. Ready to go with Charlotte Flair. Ready to roll, ready to come out. I can understand why people have their hesitant for Charlotte being on top of the winning the Rumble, on top of the mountaintop or the tippy top. For me, with Charlotte Flair, Tiffany's already the champion. What are you making Tiffany? Like, everyone wants to see her to beat Tiffany for that world title. You're going to draw heat because now you have to wait until SummerSlam for Tiffany to, unless if they pivot and do it at Queen of the Ring, if they do the Queen of the Ring this year in Saudi or Backlash or whatever the case is. I don't think they'll disrespect Charlotte with it. First PLE and have her drop the title to Tiffy. I think they'll hold her on to. That's why I say SummerSlam. And I get it. I think WWE's point is they want to make Tiffany chase for the world title, but didn't we have a hell of a chase for her with the briefcase? That's why I didn't want you guys to rush Tiffy to win the title with the briefcase. And this time around, I felt like creative caved into the internet wanting, like, they didn't want to have a Damian Priest situation. Like last year. When is Priest going to cash it in? When is Priest going to cash it in? When is Priest going to cash it in? Oh, that's the worst. And he still had 3 months left on holding that briefcase. And they were every week they were like forcing it. And it kind of felt like they wanted pushing Tiffany. It was a great moment. Don't get me wrong. It was a phenomenal moment when Tiffany captured the women's title. But I damn wish she would be the one cashing in on Charlotte. And like, oh damn. And the Tiffy time would have been, because if Nia would still be the champion here and Charlotte wins the Rumble, I think Charlotte would have gotten the massive love to beat Nia, because Nia, for some reason, she generates uber heat and she's comfortable with that uber heat. People not liking her. She doesn't care. She wants you to like her, dislike her. She doesn't really give a crap. Charlotte would have won that at WrestleMania, that build. I think everyone, and then you knew that Tiffany still had that briefcase. I think that would have been the more intriguing, because it's Tiffany. Even if she does a fail one, and even if Tiffany would fail, you little girl, and then she could have went on Monday night, hey little girl, you're not in my league yet, and Tiffany. Then the crowd revolves around Tiffy. She didn't cash in right, but Tiffany's still chasing, and still going after Charlotte. And then I think that's what's missing here, where it didn't resonate to us. But doesn't mean that they can't pivot with Charlotte being the on top of the Royal Rumble winner. It doesn't mean that. We just got to see how it plans out. I want to talk about Monday. The one last thing before we move on from Monday Night Raw, the qualifying matches. We had some qualifying matches there. We, of course, let's talk about the women. Of course, we had Io Sky versus Liv Morgan. Liv winning. I mean, I don't know who she has there in creative on her side. She continues to get the opportunities and the pushes. You know, Io Sky, it broke my heart when she said, "Oh my God." She was like, "Oh my God, I couldn't advance," and she was like, "Oh damn." That was some realism when Rhea came out. She was like, you saw her just to me kind of like she broke character. I was like, damn, Io, like she was so disappointed. I felt bad for Io Sky. Hopefully, there's a last opportunity, a last chance for her to get into the chamber for Io Sky. And then Sami Zayn and CM Punk with Kevin Owens give that package power driver Sami Zayn being ran off of TV for a couple of weeks. Interesting. Punk gets into Elimination Chamber with John Cena is becoming some heavy hitters, and the Gunther and Jey Uso, not Jimmy, Jey Uso had that promo in the middle of the ring. I like the way they set up for Monday Night Raw. Penta gets another victory as they keep pushing Penta as making him a mega star, an important must-watch match there. I think Penta's getting that LA Knight type of shine. Of course, you got Rey Mysterio and Dragon Lee taking on the New Day in a pretty good matchup there. Some could say, arguably say a little filler for Monday Night Raw, but Monday Night Raw, much better Monday Night Raw aftermath than the previous 3 weeks. I really enjoyed this Monday Night Raw, better than the previous Monday Night Raws. There's still issues with the commercial placement on Netflix. I can't stand when they're in the middle of a match and they pull away to a commercial. You're on freaking Netflix. We paying good money on top of our cable bill. If you have cable or a streaming platform, whatever other, or, you know, YouTube TV, or whatever the hell it is, you have guys have, you know, Fubo, you know what I mean? Plus also paying for the internet bill. Plus you're paying for Netflix and you're still giving me these damn commercials in the middle of a match. I'm okay with commercials. Give me the commercials after the match. After I got, here is your winner, and they show you, and you want to do the yeeting, and then you go to commercial for 3 minutes, I'm good with that. Not in the middle of a match, in the middle of a moonsault, or where someone's being thrown out of the ring. Can I get back? I hate that. You take me out of the match. You take me out of the action, no matter who it is, male or female, or main event or not main event. You kind of, then guess what I'm going to do in those commercials? I'm going to go to X. I'm going to go look. I'm check my emails. I'm going to go get a beverage. I'm going to go away. You know, that's a tough one. They're being cocky because people don't know. Some people might not know how to log off their stream and go into a, you know, not like before. You just hit previous channel and you could go watch the scores. But again, they're being maybe they're playing a little too cocky there. But I don't like the commercials on Netflix. I can't stand them. You know, I understand there's a place for them. I understand their purpose. I understand why they're there. You know, make money. But I wish they could place them better. Give it to them and they say, oh, because they want you to pay for the higher tier. So I could instead of, they're still gonna go in a break, they're gonna give you a vignette in the middle when it's supposed to be someone talking about an erection pill. They're gonna give you a vignette about wrestling. I don't care. I don't want that in the middle of a match. I want it at the end of the match. I'll move on from Netflix. That's the one thing I don't like about this Netflix era is the place in the commercial. We go to NXT, it was very hot there. We get a blast from the past. None other than JDC, aka Fandango, comes out and he interrupts the King, Lexus King. And Lexus King changing the Heritage Cup rules. So people who still didn't know with six rounds, 3 minutes, 6 rounds. If it's 2 out of 3, you win the cup. No, winner takes all. 1-4 for the Heritage Cup. Fandango, the crowd goes crazy at the Performance Center. Welcome back for JDC. He talked about the system always looking to add some more gold. So they're issuing and talking about the system. Could Moose be on his way to NXT? Obafemi Moose. Everybody wants to see that there. That worlds collide there between those two. Hopefully we get that in the near future. They're teasing it, at least with verbiages, with the words, with system. Lexus King. Of course, we had JC Jane taking on Stephanie Becker on a hell of a match back and forth. The one thing I wanted to touch here, and I want your opinion, was Charlotte Flair. We have the women on the ring. We had the Roxanne Perez. You had Bailey, Julia. Out comes Charlotte Flair. What was your thoughts on Flair? She mentioned that on Monday Night Raw. She was going to check out Julia on NXT. Your thoughts on Flair on NXT?
I mean, I'm not surprised, right? She has picked in the NXT Championship before. Let's not forget that. Because people were like, "Why the hell is Charlotte?" Guys, she literally picked Rhea Ripley the first time she won it. And that elevated the shit out of Rhea because they had another match at 39, whatever. So I didn't mind that at all. Charlotte coming to NXT like she did before, and it makes NXT look legitimately like a third brand. I know there's still debates whether it's developmental, whether it's a third brand. But it shows the dominance and the good job NXT's been doing for Charlotte to even want to consider one of their champions. And plus she wasn't, she was surrounded by Bailey, Roxanne, she was surrounded by good talent, a veteran, up and comer. I didn't mind it. We knew she's not going to challenge for the title, for the NXT title, but it does make NXT, makes Julia look legit. Charlotte wants to maybe pick me, so I like Charlotte going on there. I do. We don't see many Royal Rumble winners do that. So.
I didn't have no problem, no issues, no whatsoever seeing Charlotte and NXT. I actually appreciate, and again, I live in Orlando, Florida. I hate to sound like a redundant record. I've gone to NXT Performance Center plenty of time. I did almost a year and a half of 2.0, going to 2.0. I enjoyed it. I loved it. Best time ever. Whenever they will open up Level Up, you see Charlotte Flair. When you see the backstory of Charlotte Flair going to NXT, she says, "I don't want to be treated. I want to be, I'm Ash." She said Ashley Flair. Actually, she's, she didn't want to be part of her family legacy when she was coming up. To her, NXT has always been her love. Going there, going and in the ranking of NXT. To her to come out and again teasing the possibility of challenging the NXT Women's Champion for the second time, and how much she talked on her promo, how much she loves being in Orlando, the NXT brand, and what it meant to her. I felt proud as a Orlandian living in Orlando, down here and being part of the NXT brand, watching it. That was cool. I didn't like the reception she got though, because when they bring wrestlers back here from the main roster that really didn't do shit in NXT, the crowd goes crazy. Welcome back. And Charlotte came back. No welcome back. No appreciation. She actually put NXT Black and Gold for the women, along with the horsewomen, on the map. And that reception she got at Performance Center, I was kind of disappointed, because you guys cheer even the wrestlers that are in some major heel roles, and they come in despicable heel roles, and they go to NXT, they kind of turn them babyface, and you couldn't do that for Charlotte. That's the one thing. And listen, fans could cheer for the way you want to cheer. I'm not telling you how to cheer either. Not telling you that. But look, Cesaro got a bigger pop when he shows up on NXT than what Charlotte did, and I was disappointed on that crowd, because what Charlotte has represented, for the NXT brand through many years there, and I'm like, wow, I was shocked of my ears. Bubba Ray says, he doesn't watch the wrestling, he hears. That's how he watches. He hears the crowd, and I didn't hear the love and admiration for Charlotte at the NXT brand in Orlando. I was kind of and I was a little disappointed on that, but I'm glad that she came out. One thing I wish Charlotte would have gotten in the ring and gotten into the face of Julia. She's like, "Oh, I would love to get in, but I'm not. I can't meet you face to face. Why? Why?
Yeah,
on it. I understand the Charlotte. We're probably getting, like you said, force-fed a little too much of Charlotte Flair, but the end, not in NXT. I don't care what, guys. There's certain wrestlers, no matter who they are, when they show back at NXT, they're like the face. You got her, Charlotte. You've got Adam Cole. He shows up NXT. That's an NXT black and gold guy. But Gargano, Ciampa for the black and gold. 2.0 era Grayson Waller. Braun. Seth Rollins, even Roman in his FCW there. Guys, Brent Windham. Those guys. Those are the guys. Those are the guys that you think of. You could say a minor Mount Rushmore of NXT 2.0 from the beginning. You could call. You could make a list. And horsewomen. You could so forth. Not to go on there. So yeah. Oh, here we go. Let me see. I didn't mean to run off. No problem, Heather. No problem, Heather. Keep the two-way talk coming. No, we got you, Heather. We got you. Heather, we got to get you when things get quiet down to join us on the panel. Heather's part of our channel, so we got to get her on the panel. We'll love to hear. By the way, you have to check out Heather's Rights videos. Please do check it out. I put that in the link there. I can't wait for her to come on and join us on the panel and have this conversation. I'd love to have her on with us here. We always want to get female representation on our channel. Canary's a little bit out with injury. She's on the shelf right now, but hopefully get better, Miss Canary. But we need the female point of view when it comes to wrestling talk. I always love to hear the female point of view. We want to hear it. It's not because of arguing. We want to hear that point. Maybe we see something that they see that we don't see. So if you're an inspiring podcaster or want to be one, want to get into it and don't have the time to do your own channel, or you want to do your channel, you want to come on, we need co-panelists, female co-panelists to join us. We want to hear the thoughts. We want to talk about women revolution. We want to, if you could find another host, and you guys, ladies, want to do it on my channel, you're more than welcome. Ladies night, ladies only, women's revolution on the Heal the Ring podcast. You're more than welcome as well. We'll bow out and we'll give the microphones to the ladies as well. We're looking for ladies. At the end of the day, we're looking for more ladies with great intellect, a great conversation of wrestling. Want to talk and hear their point of view on the Heal the Ring podcast. We desperately want that on the channel. We want to hear that. We want to talk about that. We're definitely, yes, let's go. Thanks, man. My channel is mainly, here we go. Here's where her channel is mostly mainly wrestling merch, action figures reviews, and I'm a cornet woman. There you go. I know. Hey, I need someone to talk to ladies in wrestling. I need that. Miss Gemma's getting her PhD. Of course, I want to shout out Miss Gemma as well, our channel. Miss Gemma's getting her PhD, and I put her business out there. She's studying hard, working hard, and getting elevated in her professional career. And of course, she'll be back on the Heal the Ring, but we still need the female representation. Gemma was my go-to to talk about old school wrestling, because we both are the same age and we both seen the wrestling, and I want to talk about some of those 80s, those cornets, those 90s rock and roll, especially Midnight Express, Dr. Death, Steve Williams. Let's go. I have no one to talk about it. These young generations, Heather, they don't know this stuff. They don't know Teddy Bam Bam Gordy. They don't know this stuff. I need someone to conversate with me with this.
The Midnight Express and none of that shit. I mean, I know I'm a cult of cornet.
I gotta send R2D2 to say, old school wrestling fans, you're my only hope. I gotta send that SOS stress out there. I need it. You want to have an old school corner with old tour and let's go. I want to do this. I need this. I need old school wrestling fans. So let's talk about some old school wrestling fans. It doesn't have to be talking about Doink the Clown. We need to talk about this other stuff. Let's go. We need it. So yes. So we're talking about as I get away from some old stuff.
Oh, NXT, real quick, Kev. I just want people to take a play out of Fandango's playbook or JDC. This is a guy who got released from the WWE.
Give me 1 second.
No, you're good. This is a guy who got released from the WWE. He had a very corny gimmick. I want people to go back and, kind of take a play of his playbook. He came back to the WWE, this past Tuesday on NXT as Fandango, but he comes out there and goes, allow me to reintroduce myself. My name is, no pun intended if you guys know that song, but my name is JDC. He went out there, gave a little bit of nostalgia to the WWE guys, and then introduced himself as who he is now in TNA. And I love that and I think Blair Davenport, I think Da Vinci, I think guys like that who have the chance to do what Fandango just did, right? Go out, make a name for yourself, and then when the door opens back up, come back and just do what a Fandango just did. Now he's having a match on NXT, right? And he's getting paid lower, and he's in TNA doing his own thing. So I think guys could take with these releases coming out, speaking of NXT Fandango, I think they could really take a play off this playbook.
No, yeah, he's having a Heritage Cup match. It's not just an ordinary match. It's a Heritage Cup. It's a title match for JDC. That's a hell of a way there. For talk about this here, what stood out a lot for the Eddie Thorpe at the end, coming out and just attacking Trick Williams. I mean, Eddie Thorpe doesn't go away. I love it because I'm like, damn, what is next for Eddie Thorpe? He lost, but that's a way of keeping himself relevant. Going after Trick Williams, forcing himself as a heel. Like, damn, Eddie, I can't wait to Trick to whoop you. You know,
without a contract to fight for the title without having to do shit. He pulled the biggest mind game on that. That was good. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. He says Fandango is a classic example of surviving the OW system. I'm freaking love him how he is in TNA now. Yeah. And as far as Bia, which is Blair Davenport, send her back to Stardom or Japan. She killed it.
Yeah.
That'd be great for her, but I would love for her to revamp that TNA or bring to TNA Knockouts division. You're telling me a match with Blair Davenport and Marsha Slamovich won't hit? Or now they have Tessa Blanchard there, have her part of that, because she could go. She's got that wrestling, that Stardom, New Japan, that Japanese style wrestling in her that wasn't really kind of showcased too much in NXT for her. Just look at her match with her, Mika Saramura, and Mandy Rose for Worlds Collide. That's the first time I got to see her in person. I loved it. I said Blair has a heelish. Check the box in Blair, and I became a Blair Davenport fan. Even though she didn't go over, she took the pin and the loss on that match, but she did go over. Even her build up to that Worlds Collide for Blair Davenport, I said she is naturally heel. That's her. She's got a Nick factor as always being a heel. I wish they would have pushed or accentuated it on the main roster, but they didn't. That's their loss. Not to sound like a broken record going back on that. I hope TNA with the creative with Gail Kim, Tommy Dreamer, Lance Storm, Ace Steel, and all that group there, that they know how to storytell with some good in-ring, and there's plenty of time where they allow them to be themselves. I hope that she goes there. If she doesn't want to leave the country, maybe she found her roots here in the United States as being uprooted from England to Japan and back again to the United States. Maybe she likes it here, doesn't want to do so much moving. TNA's got a working relationship with NXT. She could still work with some of the NXT coaches through TNA, vice versa. I wouldn't mind seeing Blair Davenport heading over to TNA for that reason, as well as Indy Hartwell. Remember, it's easy for them to say, go here, go there. Some of these people got to uproot. It's not easy. They might not have the finances to go uproot and move to another part of the world. Or if they live in Orlando, they already have a budget. They know what they're going to bring in. If they could find a company that works similar, where they don't have to do a lot of uprooting and moving, maybe that's where they want to stay. Remember, it's about the bottom line, their dollars and cents, and also visas. They also got to get visas and permission. They got to work visas. If they could work immediately with TNA and stay and have it work, they'll stay there. So we'll find out what happens for her. Oh, yeah, and TNA will be fantastic if she wants to do that. TNA is desperate for women right now. As fun as it will be, there's only 9 women in the battle royal. Yeah. And by the way, we're going to get into that. Let's go before we get into TNA here, that was one of my thoughts there. Again, at the end, they went away with a clip with a video screen with, I believe, 5 or 4 individuals in the background. To me, they look like some of the level up male wrestlers that were, I don't know, lost in the shuffle, and they're trying to become making a quote unquote impactful debut on Vengeance Day. So we'll see. That's to be continued. To me, that looks like some of the level up wrestlers that were left over, like Cutler James and so forth, like that, trying to make a name for themselves in a group or fashion and saying we're not the forgotten ones. I don't know. Maybe it's something there, but some of those silhouettes or the male in the background looks like that. So we'll see where that goes for NXT. I thought NXT again delivered. We have some issues with the crowd hijacking the show at times from here and there. We're starting to see Kalani Jordan turning to the dark side of the force. We're seeing a little heelish from Kalani Jordan. We'll find out where that takes her. Of Sol Ruka, Zarya taking on DG Dolan and Tatum Paxley. When is Zarya going to turn on Sol Ruka? We're waiting for that there, because to me, I think Zarya is a heel. enough with the baby face stuff. Her look, her demeanor looks like a heel. They gotta make it quick before people start losing interest in Zarya, because you brought her over with Steffi and Julia, and Zarya feels like she's getting the short end of the stick. You know the meme when the little girl's in the pool. You got one where the father's running after from drowning. The other one is treading water not to drown, and then you have the girl underneath the water, completely dead and skeleton. That's what it looks like with Zarya. So hopefully they'll get that going forward there. And we'll talk a little bit of Dynamite. Let's change the pace a little. We talk about WWE. This has been WWE centric here, where a lot of folks said Dynamite had a real good showing on Wednesday night. Chris, what stuck out for you for Dynamite?
The main thing that stuck out for me for Dynamite was the return of Colton and Austin Gunn, the Guns. They're back in AEW, going after a title shot against the Heart Syndicate. And I that stood out to me the most because me and Kev, we've talked about how the Guns have not been utilized to their full potential. I think we both could agree that we would like to see the Guns in NXT. But this was good because to me, AEW used to have such a top tag team division. They had the Lucha Bros, they had the Young Bucks, they had the Hardys, they had the House of Black. Like they had such a good tag team, and now it's kind of like with WWE, right? They're slowing off a bit. This is their chance to bring it back. I think the Heart Syndicate, this is probably one of the best tests as of tag teams coming into AEW, because right now they're kind of running it. There's no good tag teams in AEW that could come to the Heart Syndicate. So with the Guns coming back, MVP calling them ass boys, like there's something that could be there. I don't think the Guns are going to win, but there could be something there potentially. So I'm happy for the return of the Guns. Another thing that stood out to me for this week's Dynamite was the confrontation, the promo we had between MJF and Dustin Rhodes. It was a good promo. Dustin Rhodes, he talked. He reminded us. He has me blocked on Twitter because I said we didn't need him in AEW anymore. I didn't really think he'd see it, but I still stand on what I said. But this was good. He reminded us why he's a good performer. Really, really good, realistic promo. Dustin talking about his past. MJF fired back with some good cheap shots of his own, talking about now you're here, your little brother's down here, and that's where Dustin drew the line. But I don't mind this because I heard Dustin on Busted Open the day after kind of explain his thought process, where he's at right now in his career, what this kind of feud means to him. I just don't understand. I just don't understand why MJF is going after these old timers and just roasting them about their past. I mean, we know what Dustin Rhodes has had to overcome in his past. There was no really need for MJF to, stick it in, but that's what he does. That's why he's a unique heel. But it wasn't bad. We're getting MJF. The thing I have a problem about MJF right now is he's sort of all over the place. Like the last 2 weeks, he's feuding with Jeff Jarrett. Now he's doing something with Dustin Rhodes, and they're teasing him and Hangman. That's the match I want. That's the direction AEW needs to go right there. Screw the Dustin Rhodes. Screw the young guy coming in and fucking with the old timers. Build up MJF versus Hangman. Those are two big stars you have in the company. Those are two guys that people in this company care about. Tony and the rest, or whoever the hell is back there writing these, they need to focus. Next Wednesday, you need to have MJF go out there and introduce and have him beat Dustin and have introduce the Hangman storyline. I do not want to see MJF go out there Wednesday, beat Dustin Rhodes, and then Jeff Jarrett come out. Because that's just, I'm going to turn it off. I'm going to turn it off. I'm not going to watch it. I don't need to see Jeff Jarrett on my TV in 2025 going after the world title. He's not even going after the world title. He's going after MJF, and that's not what he said he was going to do. So those are the two things that stood out to me in AEW. The main event between Swerve and Ricochet was okay. It was a typical Swerve and Ospreay type of style match. Nothing good happened, but the Guns and the MJF, to me, that's what's sticking out in this episode. The opening, I don't like the whole backstage chaos to open the show on Dynamite. They do that way too much. It's lazy booking. The Death Rider shit still does not make sense to me. Why is Cope accepting a title shot? I can't even tell you what's going on in the Death Rider storyline because it's all over the place. There's no clear direction. There hasn't even been a match announced for Moxley. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. But I enjoy the Guns coming back. I think they have a lot of potential. There's so much they could do, and they're working with Lashley and Shelton and MVP. 3 guys that can get him over, that will get them over. They're not just gonna go out there and do the typical AEW style tag team match, like they would with like the Lucha Bros or like they would with like the Acclaim. They're gonna be with 2 or 3 veterans that will get into a nice match. But yeah, sorry for my ramble. But what did you see from this week's Dynamite? What were your thoughts on what I just said?
All right, here's one thing I wanted to go with when it comes to Jeff Jarrett. Has he definitively announced that he's going to be done in the in-ring competitor this year? Is this no? So they're kind of borrowing. Are they kind of borrowing the John Cena thing?
He wants to win the world. That's kind of what it is. Like if he doesn't win, it's kind of like if he doesn't win the world title, he's done. If he does, he's not.
So he's kind of doing a Mickey James, Ric Flair. I keep going my last rodeo or my last ride. If I win, I keep going. And if I lose, I'm going to hang up my boots, which is okay.
He hasn't directly said anything about it. That's why it's confusing me. As a person who reviews this show, he has your direction with it.
All right. If they would be more appreciative, they say if he comes out and say this is my last run as a ride, if I lose an opportunity, I will ride off to the sunset. If he does that, here's the one thing they're missing, because now you get your fan base, or at least the Jarrett fan base or the Jarrett haters, emotionally invested. Either way, I wish they kind of will say that, be definitive with it, because now you get either both. You get those people invested on either you want him to be done and lose and get the hell out of the company, or you want him to continue going. So I wish they would be more definitive and say something there.
Why wouldn't they just do this with Dustin Rhodes though? Why are we doing this with Jeff Jarrett? Why aren't we? What they're doing with what MJF and Dustin Rhodes are just started this week? That should have been what they're doing with Jeff Jarrett. Hear me out, because Busted Open said this. It works perfect. You have Dustin and MJF build up their match. Boom, you have Dustin's last match at All In. Or you have Dustin, if he doesn't, put that world title on MJF at some point. And if he doesn't beat MJF, he's done. Like, you could do this with Dustin Rhodes. I don't know why you want to.
Let me ask this question. Has Dustin said he's done wrestling too? Like, he said he's hanging him up?
Not on TV. He said on Busted Open, when he talked to David, Bully, and Tommy, he said he's on, he's winding down. I love everything I'm doing with AEW. He wants to do more. So I don't think so. I don't think so. He's at the.
If he's not gonna, if they're not, so then don't do this. I'm okay with All Elite. I hate to say it, I'm okay with Khan not doing that, because they're not saying they're gonna be done and lacing. If they're gonna continue plan to wrestle, why do this? Because then people are like, wait, didn't you say you're gonna retire?
Yes, I think but I think Dustin should retire and have this instead of Jeff Jarrett. That's just me. I rather
he doesn't want to though, but you can't force the talent that don't want to.
I agree.
That's why it doesn't work, because if the talent doesn't want to, then this whole, like with Sting, if Sting chose to go the tag team route, and I respect that, because he wanted to get his friend Darby Allin over and kind of pass the torch, which I kind of respect, regardless of the fact how they did or not do it. I kind of respect that from Sting. Now, if Sting would have declared that, if they had that opportunity with Sting, if Sting would have said, you know what, I'm going to keep going. I'm an icon legend, but I kind of want that one singles title. And if I can't seem to win it, I'm going to retire. The way Mickie James did it. I think Mickie James, when she did that run in TNA with the Knockouts title, One Last Rodeo, was very compelling. I thought that year that she teased it was phenomenal. I really enjoyed her run in TNA. Every match could have been her last match, because you had investment. You were invested in Mickie James because you wanted to watch her. If you're a Mickie James fan, or again, Mickie James hater, you're going to watch it because that might be the last time you're going to see her race her boots, regardless if you knew the opponent was a winnable or not. That there's an opportunity for AEW to draw more fans, because this might be Jarrett's last match. You know, oh, he might lose on a Dynamite. He might lose here. He might lose there. Or, you know, or Revolution. He might lose there. You have an investment. You have a people, you know, tease it for a while. But again, maybe the talent doesn't want to put him up. They don't want to put him away. Nobody's going to no one's going to get a Sting run. Why? Because JFJ aren't over as hell, and no one retirement run is going to be good as is that. I understand that if that's not going to be as good as that, but there is a lot of slapnuts that don't like him. They hate Jarrett. Right now, Heather, they need something. They're drawing only 600,000 to watch Dynamite on a TV, and only had 1,200 people in the arena. You need something, even if it's a Jarrett. You have to try something, because what you're trying right now is not working, Heather. It's decreasing. It's decreasing now. If you have that so-called retirement tour, you're gonna draw eyeballs, haters, dejective, or even old fans that are from the Memphis that knew who Jarrett was. I'm not saying he has the big pop at Sting, but you got to try something at this point if you're All Elite Wrestling to garnish. And you got one of the best young wrestlers, heel talkers in MJF, where you might got something, you might have something. It's better than doing nothing, because what you're doing right now is bringing you nothing to the product. You're not growing. Try something, do something. I'm on board on that. And then people say, "Oh, you want him to die?" No. Guns versus the Hurt Syndicate. You're feeding this young, talented Guns to the Hurt Syndicate. I don't know if it's going to bring Daddy Billy Gunn back with the Guns Club, because, you know, the Hurt Business could be out there, numbers game hurting, because I don't know what the hell they're doing with Acclaim. They're splitting and they're going their own way. Leaves kind of Billy Gunn out in the open. Go mentor your sons. And get in that battle with the Guns against the Hurt Syndicate. We'll see if that goes. There's a lot of potential on All Elite Wrestling to change things a little bit around, but do you trust them to pull the trigger to do those things? No. That's what frustrates, I think, and pisses off a lot of AEW fans, and the haters love it, because you could see the train wreck. You could see the train from afar, and they still walk right into the train. And that's what sucks about it. Again, you just made a new group. You told us Malachi's out. You became the Hounds of Hell, and you fed them to Okada. You fed them immediately to Keshna and Kyle Fletcher. How are you going to get behind now the Hounds of Hell, House of Black? You couldn't give them the gates of agony to if you're whoever you were trying to put over. Again, those type, because I gotta give them a 5-star match. But then you're burying your talented story-wise, or investing, or giving a crap about your talent. You're not. Why should I care about the Hounds of Hell? They're just going to be a House of Black that's going to go away, put away, go shoot, because hey, they come repackaged. You don't get invested, because you see them take a L. Those little things is why things are not seen to help them or help them go forward. Right? Trust me, I know about AEW viewership. The roster is bloated. Too many. He hires too many guys. He has to force the OG. I started watching AEW. It was total different roster dudes. Yeah, but there's ways of getting them out of that with the bloated roster. We just made a couple of ideas here and how to get eyeballs and again. And I guess they must have heard us, because what was I saying last week? You have Queen Amidala. Queen Amidala got a match. She got a match finally on Dynamite, and it was a good match. And I don't care that she lost to Toni Storm, because Toni Storm is number one contender to that title for Mariah May. But she got, guess what? The world, or the 600,000 people, got to see Queen Amidala. Yeah. Great job. There you go. Now continue to book her. Put her in the storyline. I don't know if Serena Deeb has something to do with her, because she was watching Intense closely. I don't know if it was for...
That's in and out of the women's title picture. Like, not even... She's also somebody that she'll go on for a couple weeks, do a match, and then she's gone forever. Like, they have too many of that. They have too many... They do that with too many talent.
Too many starts and stops. Too many stop and stop. Stop and stop. I don't know who's worse, them or President Trump when he dances, because that's what it looks like. It looks like that. It does. It looks too much stop and start. It's like with all the opportunities and pushes when it comes to the people in AEW. Keep it consistent. Keep it consistent with the storyline with the wrestlers. You know, I didn't watch the main event with Swerve and Ricochet. Let me ask this here. I'm gonna ask Heather. I'm gonna ask, was that the right match to close out your Dynamite and main event?
Yeah, it was good. Yeah, I would say so. Two guys had similar style. People wanted to see the match. I don't like how quickly we got the match without a feud or anything building up to it. But if they want 5-star matches, which is all they seem to give a crap about,
I'm gonna say this. I disagree. That should have not been the main event. That should have not closed. To me, you build this stuff with the only guy that has a faction, a group, a family is Don Callis. You wanted to know who the hell was the 5th member. You need people, regardless if it was anticlimactic or not. You want people to still stick around for the 2-hour show and stay there. You got to give them something. Make them wait. Make them wait to see Mark Davis. Even if it's Mark Davis, who gives a crap? You're making me wait 2 hours or or whatever the case is to watch Mark Davis against, and it's Will Ospreay. You love the introduction. You love the pop and circumstances that he brings. Why not have him close that out and make people wait to see who's this 5th member, Don Callis family? You've been teasing. Again, placement of the matches, taking the temperature. Those are the things that hurt this company. These are the things that hurts it. It was a good show, but they could have done something where you were like, oh, damn, you made me wait. Those simple things, simple little minor things that doesn't resonate, that doesn't hit, that gets you frustrated when it comes to All Elite Wrestling. Again, it's not for them to fail. It's for them to tighten things up. I don't understand what's going on with Cope and Jay White. Or, it feels like, I don't know. They're putting too many people in this title picture. Is it going to be Jay White? Is it going to be Cope? Is it going to be Moxley? Who's going to wrestle Moxley? It looks like it's going to be now 1 week Cope, 1 week White. And at the end of the day, Moxley's still champion. And it's like, what? What are we going? There's no direction when it comes to that. Like, who is your definitive guy that's going to win that? Or what's the purpose? I still don't know what the hell the Death Riders want to do to AEW. It wasn't there wasn't the company that they. So what is it? What is your mission statement, Death Riders? What do you want to see? At least we knew with NWO what was their mission statement. They were bringing a new world order to professional wrestling because they were getting away from the cartoonish type of wrestling style and they were bringing that edgy. What is the mission statement when it comes to the Death Rider? What are they writing to the death of what? The death of the company? That's what it seems like. You're the Death Rider that's gonna ride the death of the company to where it's not gonna get a TV deal. For TBS, and they got new executives, by the way, and Warner Discovery, which I don't think they're going anywhere, guys. But still, you're death riding if the numbers keep plummeting. You only got 189,000 for Collision. If you continue to drop, that's going to get canceled. So you're only going to have 2 hours of television time for a bloated roster. You're death riding the company to shits. Come on, let's go and get it going. Make something make sense, even if we know the outcome long run it. Because on the back of Ricochet and Swerve is not going to get you that going. They're doing it. They're doing the best they can. They're bringing it, but man, I don't know. I mean, those little inklets, those little tie up the screws. We want to see it succeed, but guys, you got to make things sense. Placements of the card, placement. You could have had that opening. That was MJF and what was the opening that you said the backstage stuff was the opening stuff that you can't stand. Am I correct?
Yeah, the backstage brawls, they do too much of that. That's what they did to start the show.
Maybe I'm a little too WWE. They should have done MJF with the Hangman Swerve and Hangman Page and the swerving of Dustin Rhodes. That should have been the opening.
I agree. And now that you brought the point of, they could have saved in the main event for Mark Davis. That's a really good point because again, you're waiting. Maybe you keep a couple hundred viewers just waiting for that.
Heather, at this point, what OGs besides Darby Allin is going to take back the company? Darby, Darby
could be such a big fucking star, and he's not.
I think the storyline is way out of timing. This Death Rider star, the real, you know who should be the ones taking back the company? The Four Pillars. And I'm not talking about Kutapali, Leonard, Sheldon, and Raj. I'm talking about, I'm talking about Jungle Boy, Perry, Sammy Guevara, MJF, Bid Breaker, because she is a pillar. I don't care what you guys say. They should be the ones taking the company back. But that ship sailed. Not it's still you're still relying on Cope, who's an ex-WWE guy, regardless of the fact if you think they're not. The Revival, the FTR or ex-WWE guys, regardless if they have the better showing in All Elite Wrestling, but they're still ex-WWE guys. You're not, you're gonna say Omega and the Bucks, but the crowd already is conditioned to dislike the Bucks. No matter what the Bucks do, I don't think they're ever going to be liked again. I think there's too much.
That Bucks close. I'll never like the Bucks again.
The Bucks will never be liked again. And it doesn't mean that you're not going to appreciate their in-ring style and their entertainment value as wrestlers. Doesn't mean that. But I don't think they're going to be liked outside of the wrestling business, because when you send a man to go to London, and you ghost them, you change the phone number, and the guy has to take a subway to the arena when you're supposed to have you're in charge of having the travel and the limo and the Uber driver, whatever, to take them to the event, and the guy has to take a subway, and you're doing childish stuff and you're supposed to be around. I mean, and you're conning around. Yeah.
Punk, go here, you gotta go here, you gotta go here. Fans were helping Punk more than
Yeah, that all depends. I agree it isn't working. Yeah, we hate the Bucks, but why Osprey, Omega are working together, and they both have beef with Okada. So that's another thing. Like we mentioned that a couple weeks ago. The guy had a screwdriver to take him out, and now you want to. Now I'm ask you. I'm apologize. It was so off base. It's like, and here's the thing that we always. Whenever we do this weekly stuff on AEW and we get to a little bit of a rant myself, I always call out Will Washington. This time I'm gonna call out Janine Peppermill. Janine Peppermill was this storybook writer from WWE who could write stories, who does all these storyline. Mercedes need her story maker. She writes the best story for her, and Janine Peppermill came with all this pomp and circumstances, and there is no storyline that gets us going. We're not even talking about now. They're resorting to soft puppets. AEW is resorting to soft puppets now to get them over, which is cool. I'm not hating. It's funny. It's entertaining. Holly Cameron, good job getting over. Again, what do we talk about? Making the most out of your television time. And Harmony Cameron is making the most out of her television time with the soft puppets. She's over. She's getting the puppets over. I don't think she's a good wrestler. I think she's just a soft puppet with big tits. I'm sorry. I'm gonna be blunt. I'll be so blunt. That's why oh my God, she's doing the best work. Why? Because she's squeezing her boobs together and you're seeing her cleavage. Meanwhile, you got Serena Deeb, who could wrestle in the closet, cutting a promo in the back. I mean, those are the things. But I'm not gonna get mad at Harley Cameron getting the most out of her TV time. Make it. Go do it, girl. Do it. Go do it. Make the most out of it. Because obviously Serena Deeb with her in-ring and cutting it, because she has some good matches, but she's not cutting it. She don't get TV time. She gets turned off and on more than, my God. I mean, it's ridiculous. It's her start and stop. It's just, those are the things that hurts this company. The ventriloquist, yeah. And let me ask you this: who's the better wrestler, Harmony Cameron or Britt Baker?
Britt Baker.
Exactly. But who's getting the most TV time?
Yeah.
Right now.
Harley Cameron.
Yeah. That exactly. That's the problem. That's the issue there. They got to stick with it. If you got you decided to put your eggs in that basket, finish the omelet. Finish the omelet. Don't just scramble the eggs and leave it sitting in the bowl. Finish the damn omelet and serve it. That's the problem. And Nate is in the building. What's going on, Nate? How are we doing today? Talk a little wrestling here. All right, so we see with All Elite Wrestling, then this week was a better show. Better show but it still has 600,000 views. There's a lot of issues still that they need to tweak up to the placement of the wrestling matches and card. They got a couple of weeks before Revolution comes up in March, their pay-per-view. There's still a lot of building going on, a lot of stuff there. Again, don't fall in the trap to go running and sign every one of the WWE release wrestlers, because what makes you think if you're not pushing and elevating the current roster that you have there, why acquire more if you're not? And again, I'm not because I'm a WWE. Oh, you're just hating. You don't want to see them in AEW. No. I want, if they're going to go there, make sure you have more. And the same thing goes to WWE. Make sure you have something for these performers to return into and have a program. When it comes to the Hurt Business, if you want to bring Sheldon Alexander in, fine. Make sure you have something. Then you're going to make sure now you're going to make Sheldon and Cedric your tag team. And now you have to have that single push for Bobby. No, I don't want to see Bobby in no trios. I don't need Bobby's going after the trios title if you're bringing Cedric Alexander. You need Bobby now to go after Okada first, because I don't think he's going to touch that Death Rider plat. I think that's not touching that World Heavyweight title. Bobby needs to go get after Okada, have those matches with Okada right now, and have that there. After Okada finishes whatever he's going to finish, either with Hairspray or whatever, you make sure it's Bobby Lashley next. Build it there. I don't need them in the trios. I don't need no trios from them. No trios. They don't need to be there. They need to be tag teams if they're going to bring a Cedric into the business. I like that.
Yes.
Well, Cedric ain't going over because Big Swole. Yeah, you see, there's different direction there for All Elite Wrestling, where they'll go there for that. We'll find out. Again, they're gonna have their Grand Slam, which is gonna hurt them. Terrible timing for Tony to go across to Australia, because your own network, Tony, is not going to bump you for the NBA All-Star festivities.
Hell,
you're gonna come out tech delay. Why didn't you do it the following week?
Why didn't you just do it like you guys normally do? Because we didn't have to go all the way to Australia for a fucking Grand Slam. You could have went to Australia for a pay-per-view. But you wanted to make a Dynamite type of show on a Saturday night in a different country during NBA All-Star Weekend. You've got to research stuff before you book shows. And then they're not going to – I don't want to sit here – you're not going to sit here and tell me AEW Tony Khan didn't know All-Star Weekend was the same week.
He does. He's an NFL. He's an NFL owner. He knows the sporting. He knows the landscape.
Yeah, he's an NFL. Exactly. He owns the NFL team.
What's going on, Ethan? Your ears must have been ringing because we were talking some nice things about you earlier across the pond and last night too. So your ears must have been ringing, Ethan. Hope you're doing well, man. Yo, what's going on, Ethan? Yeah. Again, also I question NXT as well. Why are you going on Slam Dunk? And I know people say I don't watch the Slam Dunk contest and stuff like that, but people do. Why are they having Vengeance Day? And I'm glad they did it on Saturday. Now it makes sense. I'm like, why didn't they do it on Sunday? They always do it Sunday, especially the day after Valentine. Why couldn't you go on the 21st? The following weekend. I mean, why didn't NXT Vengeance Day be the following weekend where there's, it kind of boggled my mind because I understand why. Say again?
You're telling me, sorry to interrupt, you're telling me Grand Slam and Vengeance Day are on the same day?
The same day, but different hours. Vengeance is at 6 o'clock.
Oh, my God.
Vengeance Day is at 6 o'clock, and then Grand Slam is at 10 o'clock at night. Or whenever the All-Star festivity finishes. Whenever the All-Star game festivity finishes, 3-point contest, all that dance when it comes on. So it's like on a super Uber tape delay. Again, you flew all this talent across to Australia because it's not a cheap flight. That's like a 14+ hour flight to Australia, right? And you're going to do a television show that's going to be delayed it's going to be tape delayed to the United States, and then you move from a stadium to a small venue because you're not going to make the gate. I want to see the books there is going to go in the red because the money they're going to spend to bring the talents over there, the hotels, the pop-in circus for a small venue in Australia. I mean, yeah, this show is doomed because of the location. Brain Bay is the center is of the country, hard to travel. bad location, and the venue's way too big. No wonder why it's downscaling. It exactly. It was and again, the people of Australia deserves an event. They deserve All Elite Wrestling as well, not just the WWE Elimination Chamber. They deserve wrestling. They deserve All Elite Wrestling as well. It shouldn't be, oh no, that's a WWE territory. No. If TNA has gone to Australia, and TNA's done a week taping, they make their work wild. When they go there, they're gonna make. But all I know, they're only doing it's only a one and done show, right, Chris? For AEW over there in Australia, one and done, and everybody's coming back.
Yes. They're doing they're not doing any like when they went to All In this year, they did the Dynamite and Collision from Wales, England. They're not doing that with Grand Slam, and and the thing that sucks too is like they have so many Australian representation in Cal Fletcher, Buddy Matthews, Tony Storms from the New Zealand, Australia,
Harley Cameron,
and Harley Cameron. So it's like you're not giving these guys. I mean, yeah, you're giving them opportunities to shine in their home country in front of their people, but they don't consider like we want to watch that. I want to watch Buddy Matthews perform in Australia. I don't want to you know what I'm saying? I want to watch Kyle Fletcher and Takeshita versus Kenny and Ospreay, even though I think the match is ridiculous. I want to watch it. They could have, they could have done it so much better with this. I agree with Heather. The show is gonna be doomed strictly because of where it's located, in my opinion.
And look, when those hometown wrestlers show out and come out, they're gonna get a King's Raw, a King's Cheer, and it's gonna look great. Mm-hmm. I wish they would have known a way how to capitalize it better. Yeah. I wish they would have had a way of capitalizing better. Maybe this business is a little too much for Tony Khan, because he's also got it. Because here's the thing, he's also got to run a soccer club. He's also a part of the Jaguar analytics and front office team, and they were trying to hire a head coach for that organization, and they had controversy hiring a head coach. The assistant coach said no, then he came back for more money. He wanted the GM fired. All this crazy nonsense. And again, I think it's a little too much minutia, too much stuff for that man to think about, for Tony Khan. It's just a little too much. I think he's overwhelmed. Yeah, maybe it's time for him.
He runs a media company, imagine the sports, this is a scenario. Like Tony Khan owns like the Sports JEDI network, and that he does other, he owns like a big media company, like example Sports Jet, and he does stuff for other, he's doing like other businesses, sports, so he's doing that on top of actually being in like the sports world, the entertainment. He's sports, business, and entertainment. He's in three different. It is too much for him. And I think he needs to he needs to drop one of them. I mean, I understand if you don't want to drop the Jaguars, right? That's kind of like the family business. I understand, but get rid of your damn football team in England. They're not good. You only want that so you could use. You only want that so you could benefit AEW by going to Wembley and going to any other stadium. That stadium that he owns. That's my opinion on what. Because he might have owned.
Oh, wait a minute. They are. All right, we got. Wait a minute. We got a debunk there. Ethan says 4 of them are good.
Okay, they're good. I don't watch European soccer. I just assume they suck because of how he runs the Jacksonville Jaguars. So I just assumed that. But if he has a successful team there and they're good, forget everything I said then. But my point is he does have a lot on his plate, and it's showing in the booking of wrestling. And it's not like he can't. Like I said, he needs to give somebody like Will Washington or somebody a role when he's not there or when he's doing this. You're the guy. You're me. He doesn't have that. Every single company has that. TNA, WWE, New Japan, GCW. They all have somebody that's the guy when the guy isn't there.
AEW has it, but he doesn't allow it. You're telling me with those agents that they have there, with Lance Lynn, come on, Lance Lynn is a smart guy who learned under the tree from Paul Heyman in ECW. And then you saw the rise and the demise of WCW. He knows the mistakes and stuff. And again, and I go with Lance Lynn because he's been there the longest. Dustin Rhodes, one of his father, Dusty Rhodes, and being part of there and being there's so many guys there. They had Mark Henry, they had a Paul White, they have guys there. He just chooses not to with that. And besides, look, AEW needs the NFL money. They're never gonna drop the Jaguars out of that. They need the NFL money because they make a lot of money regardless, because it's collective bargain with the share with the owners of the league. They all making money hands over fist, and they just bleeding the money into All Elite Wrestling. This is a toy for Tom Khan from the NFL profits until his father cuts it. Until the old man says, "I'm not, we're not funding this wrestling company." That's when All Elite Wrestling is in trouble. As long as the dad continues to give money, he's going to continue going and having All Elite Wrestling. As even if it bleeds money, it's just a hobby. It's a hobby for him.
You hear what Seth Rollins, real quick before we shift, you hear what Seth Rollins said about AEW yesterday?
I did not see it. I did not hear it.
Sirius XM interviewed him, and he was like, "Hey Seth, who would be the equivalent of somebody from WWE and AEW trading the Luka Doncic and Anthony Davis? Who's equivalent?" And Seth Rollins said, "Well, I don't think there's anybody in AEW even close to on the level of Luka Doncic. Like there's nobody." He was like, "There's nobody in AEW that's worth trading for right now." Like he kind of like took a shot, and I thought it was really funny. He was like, "Who would you rather trade in WWE for AEW?" And Seth was like, "AEW has nobody we want," or something along those lines. Like AEW like doesn't have a Luka Doncic or something.
Wow.
That was funny.
And here it is. Tony Khan should have never bought Ring of Honor. It has gone nowhere. If anything, he should have bought Ring of Honor in the beginning and never started All Elite Wrestling. You could agree with that.
For the All-In rights. That's why. That's
right.
My opinion. He bought it for the library and the All-In rights.
Right. That's what Vince McMahon wanted to do. Vince McMahon wanted to purchase Ring of Honor so he could have the library on the Peacock or wherever the WWE network and all that stuff. He had no intentions of keeping those 3 call letters as a wrestling company, where they're gonna have wrestling events and put on a show. Or he just wanted the library rights. Khan wanted the All-In rights, but then he says, "You know what? Maybe that's an agreement that they had. We don't know. You have to keep it. You have to have these wrestlers wrestle for X amount of years, not just the rights." And Vince didn't want that, and he sold it. And he sold it to Khan. Khan, I'm pretty sure they didn't have the offer was around the same amount of money. I don't know the exact number of figures, but if Vince would have gave that money, I think he would have got it because it would have benefited the WWE to keep the Ring of Honor. How many stars are in the WWE that started off at Ring of Honor? The list is a lot of the stars. The list is long.
When Tony purchased it, there was a lot of wrestlers in the AEW from Ring, like it's Punk, Daniels, Samoa Joe, Daniel Bryan. So I see why AEW bought it, but again, I don't think they should have bought just bought it for the library and the All-In rights. Again, it could have been a deal, but with them doing like no one's buying. We other people we already have TNA. We have now Netflix going on, all these other WWE shows that are actually worth watching are going on these different networks. Nobody wants to pay an extra Ring of Honor Plus or anything like that. Or
$10. That's not even cheap. That's $10.
I believe they're going to try to get a TV deal because why the frick else would you have Chris Jericho as champion? Get a TV deal.
Because they think people will pay the $10 to see Chris Jericho on an app for the world title.
I don't even like watching Chris Jericho for free on my TV. And mind you, one of the big reasons why, I'm a huge Chris Jericho fan. I know I'm not young enough. I'm only 22, but his work in WCW, phenomenal. His work in ECW, Jericho is a legend, but it gets to a point where you just don't got it anymore, and that's where he's at.
I could see that with Jericho. We'll see where TNA. We'll get into TNA now. We'll go with Ring of Honor. we'll see where Ring of Honor AEW holds in the near future. If they get Ring of Honor his own TV deal, or is that's going to go down with All Elite Wrestling? Because that kind of sucks. If they disappear, both of those companies are going to go really hurt bad if they go away with financially or with the money they don't.
It'll hurt the rest. Look, you guys, real quick, we're going to talk about TNA. The last thing I got to say about AEW. You can wish the death on AEW all you want, but the reality is it kills the wrestling business. It hurts the wrestlers, and it hurts us as annualists /
content creators. We can't create any content because we can't talk about Bertie Murphy if he's not around. We can't talk about House of Black, Julia Hart if they're not in the WWE, if they're not in any wrestling company. And the way WWE keeps pumping out more shows, we're not going to go out our way to watch House of Glory or MLW because they're on the same time as the big companies. I'm not GCW. No, we're not going to watch it because that's where they got those alternative. Unless they go to the major companies, it's just NXT, Raw, SmackDown, or Impact. Really not going to watch much of it because they working together and they're going on different nights. They're not competing on the same nights. That's the only difference. We're going to see these talent and they're not all going to get signed. So if they go away, they're going to be nowhere to see them or talk about it. We won't be able to hear to go 45 minutes talk about All Elite Wrestling because they're not here. It sucks. AEW won't die. If anything, they'll become a TNA, A Square company, downsizing to survive. Absolutely, like the NWA. The NWA is a perfect example. They have never died. They have gone, and right now they're just on YouTube. They're on a YouTube CW TV deal, and they're barely surviving. They've got great stars in Tiffany Nieves. They've got so many. Murdoch, Brutus Clay. They've been around for years. The history of the National Wrestling Alliance. I think that's what might happen to All Elite Wrestling. If they might end up being an AEW if things don't ship the right way. They won't be in the higher scale of the main echelons. All right, let's go to TNA here. And what I thought to me was the best wrestling program of a week. I keep saying TNA, the card was stacked. The card up and down for being a tape show that we knew it was taped. I got to give credit to the internet community for not ruining it, for allowing us to watch it on Thursday night and being pleasantly surprised with everything that happened. We opened up with a Joe Henry concert. We are the champions for Joe Henry. I loved it. We find out his first TNA match defense because last week it was a independent wrestler in Matt Cardona was brought in, but now we got Jake Something. Jake Something gonna take on Joe Henry. I like it. I like Jake Something because he's that kind of heel that looks like an obstacle. That looks like damn. And if you look at that, Jake Something had a hell of a match in Maple Leaf Pro Wrestling, fighting for the Grail Cup back in October. And I want to see Jake Something continue to get the opportunities and the push there. I can't wait for Jake Something going forward. We saw Masha Slamovich talking about Cora Jade, keeping an eye on the Battle Royal. The Battle Royal had only 9 women, but I like the way they showcase and made Savannah Evans look like the badass that she is. Yeah. Is she gonna win the knockout title from Masha Slamovich? No. But she's a big menacing obstacle for Marsha to get a program for now before getting her ready for Tessa Blanchard, which looks like that's going to be in the near future. I love the fact that Savannah Evans won the Rumble, the Battle Royal. I picked her. I'm a big fan of Savannah Evans. Of course, she's got a lot of seasoning left. They got to work with her in ring, but her presentation for me, I'm a big fan. I'm sorry, I'm a huge fan of Savannah Evans. Huge fan of Savannah Evans. I think the future for her is bright. And that's, especially now that the Juggernaut is not in the company right now, you're revamping until Kyla King returns from injury and the Knockouts division could use the Savannah Evans to get elevated here. Hopefully that battle road. Saya Brookside continues to show you why she's a Knockouts of the future or just a fun baby face for Saya Brookside. I love to see that there. I love the fact with Tasha Steele in the back with her head down, disappointed, and Mustafa Ali starting to form his own cabinet. I love the fact that I love the fact that Tasha is going to work with Mustafa Ali there going forward. I like to see where the Boricua Badass is going to move on here and moving up in some places. I can't wait to see that there, Chris, for Tasha Steele there. And the good hands, also the good hands.
Yes, it's good. It's good. I like what Ali's doing. Like Corey Jaden always to know and like from much to say. Yeah, I mean, Cora's still in the picture for the TNA Knockouts division. But yeah, like you said, I have nothing much to add other than with Jordan Grace leaving, a lot of these knockouts can step up, and it's exciting. I agree. TNA was best show of the week. They always have really good knockouts. Yeah, we gotta keep an eye out. But Mustafa Ali is my favorite wrestler ever. I could see that. I appreciate him coming back. He did the best work of his career in TNA the first time. There was no need for him to leave. And he's gonna be a really big part of the company. Just he has a lot of experience in WWE, so it's gonna be good.
Alicia Edwards is a snake. You can't trust the system, but you can't trust Alicia Edwards because she eliminated her from that battle royal and she let her guard down. I love that she mentioned that in her promo where Mustafa Ali picked her up, brought her and revitalize her. I think Tasha Steele, that's a way of repackaging her and making her a big time push or opportunities in the Knockouts division. Doesn't have to go to right away for title, but you could do that for the end of the year for a Bound for Glory, where she's right now she's just eliminating the competition. Led Tessa, led Marsha with Cora Jade and so forth. Let them battle all that out for the summer, into the spring, into the spring, into a little bit of the summer. Come fall time, if you want to now have Tasha Steele so built, so strong, you have that going. You have that show out there where Tasha Steele, you don't feel like and you could still present her with her past Knockouts champion before, 2-time Knockouts champion, all that, her accolades. You could still get her going and become now invested with people rally behind her on going forward for Tasha, or even the UBS arena. Put it this way: you're telling me that Mike Santana, Tasha Steele ain't going to be the biggest pop of the night in Long Island in UBS arena? They will. You can market around those two. Watch that out there. Watch out for that there. To me, watch out for this feud. This feud is going to literally burn TNA in a good way. It's going to be Mance Warner and Sami Callihan. Those son of a guns, you missing they're going to be ECW light in TNA because you got Tommy Dreamer there. Callahan is a little nuts. Mance Warner's crazy. They're teasing it wasn't a recognizable of the digital media champion, yada yada. I don't care. I know there's going to be violence when I see Mance Warner and Sami Callihan go at it. I hope they do that in Orlando in the live show. I hope they brawl all over the place. I cannot wait to see those two. Yes, my son's birthday, both of my son's birthday, 27 and the 28. All right, so cool. All right, special times here on the Sport Jedi Network. We got Ethan. I can't wait to see that. That's gonna be the feud for, and it's not to be one off, guys. Warner and Callahan is going to be a feud that's going to go on. It's going to be a alternate universe of Tommy Dreamer, Sandman, Tommy Dreamer and Raven. Excuse me, Tommy Dreamer and Raven. Hopefully. Here you go. Why is Nick Nemec fighting the heel turn? Ryan is a schmuck. He kills me when he's making the decision. Then he backfires on both of them. The new tag team angle I haven't seen before. That's a good. Yeah, I understand, but I think Nick Nemeth and Ron. I think they're neither. I said it on Thursday night, and I think we're seeing here is a different version of Owen Hart, Bret Hart, with the brothers. I think we're seeing where Nick is going to get betrayed by Ryan, and that's going to leave a program between Ryan and Nick Nemeth. I think that's where they're kind of teasing here. Nick is becoming a little naive when it comes to his brother. And I think Ryan is going to – I got your attention now. I think Ryan's going to turn on Nick. And that's going to lead to a program between those two brothers going forward. Yeah. I think that's where that goes with that. Looking at – I love the six-man tag. Leon Slater, the Hardys. And Moose, once again, gets pinned. Moose takes the pin again in 6-man action, and last time it was on the tag team 6-man. I think he's. Let me ask you this, Chris. You think he's baiting someone to try to challenge him one-on-one, and then he just destroys them because he's Moose?
Maybe. I'm surprised with Moose taking the pins. He is the X Division champion. Besides him being dominant, besides him being the guy he is the X Division champion. So it is surprised that he's taking these pinfalls, but I mean, he took the pin to Jeff Hardy. I mean, it doesn't. I'm not gonna sit here and say, "Oh, Moose is getting buried." Yeah, he took a pin to Jeff Hardy. If he would have took a pin to me, yeah, go ahead.
No, I'm saying to me is him. He's got the pin. I want to tie that did with me the title. Come on, take a shot at me, and they go, and the opponent goes cocky, thinking he's gonna beat him, and Moose retains, and you continue to elevate that digital meter, the champion, the X Division champion. Excuse me, the X Division championship.
Yeah, no,
that's the way I see it.
I wouldn't even mind oh, Jeff Hardy, you want to pin me? How about you come singles action, fight me, like there's so many things they could do with him. They can, but if they want him to, we're seeing a little of the system going to NXT now. If they want him to go over there and actually, start it with Oba and Moose, you got to have him get some wins under his buckle, have him get some pins under his buckle, but. Taking a pin to Jeff Hardy is not getting buried in my opinion.
All right. Then you got Leon Slater should be X Division champion like now. TNA's hiring the kid. Best decision. It's been a long time. Yeah, that kid is great. That kid, we love that kid on there.
But if Leon Slater would have pinned Moose, that maybe would have. Because I love Leon. I want to see him and Javon Evans. He's a great kid. He's teaming up with the Hardys. He's probably living his dream. Still needs a lot of season. And him and Moose in the future will produce a good match for that X Division title. That's another reason why I wouldn't mind Leon Slater taking the pin. So no matter who Moose took the pinfall in this match, it wouldn't have hurt him, in my opinion. Because Leon, okay, you pin me. Let's get a match. I'll kick your ass. The Hardys, they're the Hardys. So.
Let me ask this to you, Chris. We saw Jeff pinning Moose. What if Jeff challenges for the X Division title against Moose and he doesn't beat? But if he doesn't beat him,
that makes
it also gives Moose more credibility on that title because he beat a former champion.
Mm-hmm.
Now, when Leon decides to beat, or when they pull the trigger on Leon beating Moose, it kind of legitimizes or makes Leon Slater, because where Jeff couldn't win, Moose is dominant, Leon wins it. Oh, damn. I think that's what they're trying to cook here, or tell that story when it comes to the X Division champion for Leon Slater. Because if you give it to Leon Slater already, this is them pushing Leon already with the title. Was it a fluke, or was it a fluke or a slip on the banana peel? No, because when Leon beats Moose, Moose has been defending it against. He can even defend both Hardys, and it won't hurt the Hardys losing individuals because they're tag team champions right now. So it wouldn't hurt them. So even if he beats Matt and Jeff, even if he takes 1 week a program with either or, taking a crack at Moose for the and then Leon takes it from them, you're building Leon into the next X Division champion amongst stars. So I like that. I love that for Leon, because Leon is 19 years old, and doesn't mean that you're gonna have to go like a turtle's pace, but you don't want to accelerate either. You got to find the happy medium when it comes to Leon as well, and going forward with him. So yeah, the future's bright between Leon Slater and Javon Evans, both in that same category of age range. So you got those two kids. My goodness, the future's bright when it comes to those type of athletes. There, where they're young, eager, and hungry to learn from legends. I love that for both of those kids, and they're in the right place at the right time for both of those two wrestlers. Eventually, we'll get there. Speaking of young guys getting some legends behind them, the Northern Armory, under the tutelage now of Eric Young, turning on walking weapon Josh Alexander. Macklin's not liking it because he wasn't told. He wasn't told. He was kept secret. Why didn't you tell him you were gonna team up and take these kids under your wings? I mean, I thought we were friends. You're doing deals in secret behind me. Nothing sucks more when you have to find out from the third person instead of you're tell me straight up, face to face. And of course, Josh Alexander is gonna have his final match against Eric Young next week. Listen, just because Josh Alexander is leaving TNA, I still think we're not going to see him until after. If he goes to the WWE, which there are rumors to be where he's heading, or NXT, it's going to be after the WrestleMania season. I think not because of a 90-day compete. I think Josh Alexander is going to want to wrestle for Scott D'Amore's Maple Leaf Pro Wrestling in March, and then I think you'll see him heading to the WWE. And if he goes WWE route, I think that's where we'll see him going forward for Josh Alexander. But I still think he's going to want to get that Maple Leaf Pro Wrestling in that card. I think we'll see him in that card coming up in next month. By the way, we're going to be doing it on the playback. If you haven't joined us on the playback, let me give a quick plug to the playback. Playback TV is similar to YouTube, but here's the difference. We get to do the watch. We're not doing watch-alongs no more on YouTube because we want to show you the wrestling event. YouTube does not allow us. They won't let you see it. So what we do, we go to playback where we're allowed to. We go to playback TV. You get to watch the wrestling. We're going to have Maple Leaf Pro Wrestling. We have Genesis on there. We have Monday Night Raw, SmackDown, NXT, TNA each and every week. We ask you to join. It's totally free. It's not. It's just another app that it's not going to take any spyware or anything from you. It's come join, become a member, and you get to see and talk and watch it. It's okay if you want to stare at us. We're looking at the wrestling. We want you to see it with us and talk about it. That's why we do the playback. We encourage you to come on there. Heel of the Ring podcast on the playback TV. The link is in my video description. If you follow me on X, I'm always posting, always retweeting, and you could go right to the day of the event. You can always put pings and it'll notify you whenever we go live, anything with the Heel of the Ring podcast, and you get to see it and watch it and hear it. It's okay if you want to watch the little redheaded kid make funny faces or force the action. It's all right. It's okay if you want it to each his own, but we want you to see the wrestling as well as hear us talk about it and react together as a fan base. So that's why we do the playback. That's what we encourage you there as we continue here. The NXT, the week of wrestling, a great match there. Mike Santana and Matt Cardona. Hell of a match between them.
Even on paper, I said when we came for the playback on Thursday, that was the match I wanted to see. They did a good job of it, making it the co-main event. Two heavy hitters. Mike Santana's really over with the crowd, coming through the crowd. We saw some We heard some We Want Chelsea chants of Cardona. The crowd was really into that match.
I love that. And that
was probably, besides the in-ring match, because we know with those two guys, they're going to deliver no matter who they're in the ring with. I appreciated how interested that crowd was. We heard crowd chants from both rings, both competitors cheering, stuff at them. Even when they went outside on the floor, like, come on, like I appreciate how interested the fans were, because we don't get a match like this very often, and this is arguably like a pay-per-view style match.
It was.
So
it was.
The fact that we got that on a tape Thursday night and the crowd loved it, I appreciated it. It was really good. At this point, all I'm gonna keep saying is I can't wait for Slammiversary.
And look, I want to give Santana a kudos. He gave a shout out to the late Eddie Guerrero with the frog splash and the shaking. Phenomenal there. Beautiful job there. He just continues to get better and elevate himself. Big future, like you said. Can't wait for Slammiversary in UBS Arena. There's gonna, it's gonna be a lot of Hispanic, a lot of New York. His backyard. He's from the Bronx, New York. That's just a hop skip away over the Throsneck Whitestone Bridge, right to UBS Arena, Cross Island Parkway. Boom, bam, you're there. At the UBS Arena. That's gonna be an awesome, scenery for Mike Santana. I wish I could go. I wish I could go back to New York and be there at the UBS Arena just to see his entrance, just to be a spectator in that entrance for Santana. It's going to be off the charts, whoever his opponent is. I can't wait. And of course, we are big fans of him here. For him and Cardona, I know Cardona doesn't want to be signed to a major company, although he says that. I think he likes that role that he's in currently right now, making a lot of money. Cardona is so over. Wherever he shows up, you want to stop and see, even if it's in GCW, even if it's a little short run at Ring of Honor, AEW, you still want to see Matt Cardona. Wish we would have saw him at the Rumble, but we get why and why not he was not there. We get it. But Matt Cardona continues to be a independent wrestler that, if for those guys that are released and they somehow watch this video or whatever, people always tell that advice: go talk to Matt Cardona how he gets over in the Indies. Yep. Pick his brain, pick that man's brain, have a conversation, pick up the phone, talk to him, and don't be afraid. You're not gonna fail. And if you apply what the man does and how he gets over, or listen to the advice and see what works for you, man, or for you ladies and gentlemen that have been released wrestlers. If this podcast gets to you somewhere, some of you hear that. If you only hear that, call Matt Cardona. Talk to someone with experience that independent has gotten over. And you know what? Maybe there is light at the end of the tunnel right now in the dark times for you guys. So yes, you could get over there for Matt Cardona. Good job to see him there. And then we got the tag team champions, NXT tag team champion, defeat the Nemeth brothers. Again, the story here: Ryan Nemeth stepping his boundary over Nick Nemeth, inverted tags, costing here. I love the fact that the fans were back and forth chanting TNA. We thought they were going to get tagged. And Ariana Grace at the ringside. I love the fact that they're going to be mad at you if you lose the tag team titles. I love that. He went today. I went to Rev Pro because I'm training in the wrestling currently. Good job, Ethan. There we go. There we go. Let's go. Yee to that. I love to hear that. Definitely, we got Ethan, aspiring wrestler. So, and of course, we got the tag team champions for NXT defending their titles and winning. I love it. And I love what they set up for next week. Joe Henry versus Jake something for the NXT title. Slamovich versus Evans because she won the Battle Royal. The final match for Josh Alexander against Eric Young. Frankie Kazarian, who got interrupted by Sami Callihan. And that was a funny spot. Santino makes that match, so that get that going. And Xia Brookside versus Cora Jade. So we're going to see Cora Jade in action for NXT in TNA. So I love that. Agree everything. Santana is going to be the number one babyface in TNA. If given the chance. However, it's going to be a while because Joe Henry. Yes. Joe Henry still got to deal with, John Cena, if that's available, maybe later in part of the year. Also, Jake something. Frankie Kazarian still has that Koya Shark gauntlet there, Heather, where he's snooping around with that. And then I think Santana gets into the picture. So again, that's why I'm saying July for that Slammiversary. They'll heat it up there. But right now for the upcoming shows for Resurgence and of course the other events for TNA, I don't see Santana there yet. You still got Santana has to try to get over Mustafa Ali for interrupting him and so forth there. So it's going to be fun on there. Holy cow, Nathan Frazier's that fast. Yeah, he is fast. No, he's as quick as Breaker. They're both fast. Being there in person, seeing both Nathan Frazier and Braun Breaker in person at NXT 2.0, they're fast. Nathan Frazier's quick. He is quick. Yeah.
You just don't see it because, I could tell, obviously his trainer, Seth freaking Rollins. But, you just don't see it because, how big Braun is, the freaking ring almost moves when Braun does it because Braun's so muscular. But, yeah, Nathan Frazier. He's really quick. He does a lot of Seth Rollins. Like that little roll up and then he hits the rope. Yeah.
Yes, Ali's feud is coming first. And I can't wait. To see that because next week, I love what we're going to see when we see TNA this Thursday, even though it's the final taping, and the last match for Alexander. I kind of want to see how they're going to set up for the live from Full Sail coming up. I can't wait to see what matches they're going to give us, what storylines they're going to give us, because I kind of see that. Can't wait. I can't wait to see that for TNA. TNA continues to do business that is so great. The 2-hour shows, they're quick, they're fast, they're total nonstop action, just like their name says, no pun intended. And they're doing a good job there with the way they're booking it, and they're doing so much with so little. They don't have a bloated roster. We're even concerned about the knockouts division, even the tag team knockouts, all that. But they make the best where it's compelling with so little. And kudos again to creative, the bookers, and everyone, the agents. They do such a great job there. To me, my favorite show of the week when it comes to all the professional wrestling, and I'm a big WWE guy. To go and say TNA, it says already again a lot. I'm really liking what TNA is giving, and NXT being my heart, because going there and watching it, I thought TNA again delivered, but NXT was right there with them, with it, because it's a live show and they give you live stuff every week. I wish TNA will go live every week, but hey, baby steps. We're getting it now once a month. That's great. Once a month, that's great. Then we'll know when, and hopefully we continue to watch it. Continue to subscribe to the Plus, subscribe, watch Access, or on YouTube, or on. By the way, it's on Tubi. Guess who's on Tubi? Evolve. WWE announced that and TKO bringing the UFC to Tubi. Now you can watch it there. TNA on Tubi as well as Evolve on Wednesdays, plus the UFC fighting. So you're gonna now TKO is now moving some stuff where people are gonna want. And by the way, the Super Bowl tomorrow night is going to be on Tubi as well.
Is it?
So yeah,
I didn't know that.
Yeah. Now you know. If you don't know, now you know.
I didn't know they were giving the Super Bowl for free like that.
They're putting the Super Bowl on Tubi. Super Bowl is on Tubi. So you can watch the Super Bowl also on Tubi app. So guess what? UFC's there. Evolve, WWE, Evolve is there, as well as TNA Impact on Thursday. So so guess what? There's wrestling there. So they're making moves now. That's another benefit of the WWE umbrella partnership with TNA, because you telling me I know TNA was ahead of Tubi already before, but if WWE had thoughts of going there, they would have probably not went. They probably would have not went, because TNA, if they weren't working together, they would have not probably gone there, because TNA is there. So you got to love it. Yeah, you have to register for Tubi. Here it is. Heather, give the tea. I already registered at Tubi for the Super Bowl tomorrow. There you go. Yeah, very good job there. Good job. Tubi, the Super Bowl. There you go. Love it. So you got a lot of good stuff going on for TNA and Tubi, and of course Evolve coming up on the in March, and we're going to be covering that as well. We're going to be watching that as well too. So of course it's going to be from Orlando, Florida, and of course LFG. I don't know if I'm going to do it just yet, but I'm going to watch it and we'll react to it and we'll see how that goes going forward. And then we got to SmackDown last night. Again, another 18-minute pop for Jey Uso coming out. So over. Again, Cody comes out, and we pretty much predicted what he was going to say about libations and tag teams and, this and this and that. It was, but let me ask you this. Did he talk you to want to watch the Cody versus Jey for WrestleMania, or do you still want to see Gunther and Jey after watching that promo last night?
That's hard. That's hard, because the promo last night was good. I caught the last bit of it. I went and rewatched it, but I would say yeah, but it's hard because I do still think there's unfinished business with both. Jey lost an Intercontinental title match to Gunther. Recently at Saturday night's main event, Jey lost. I would like to see the I finally beat you, but the story the promo there with him and Cody, there's some magic. But that's hard. That's hard. I still kind of want him to pick Gunther. I still kind of think, if hypothetically John Cena wins the Chamber, I still think that could be a bigger match down the road. But I would not mind to see Jey and Cody after last night. I really wouldn't. I still think there's unfinished business with him and Gunther though.
When if you would ask me this question before I saw SmackDown, I would have been like, no, it's got to be Jey and Gunther.
Yeah.
And then after watching SmackDown last night, Jey versus Cody, because while they were in the ring, I love what we got interrupted by Jacob Fatu and Tama Tonga. And I love what Jacob Fatu said. You know what? You took something that belongs to my family. Even though he took a shot at Jey for not being the guy for that title, he's not it. But still, when he mentioned that and said, you know what? You stole something from my family, and I loved it, because damn, Jey should be the one up there for the family. And the story is the Anonali family trying to take that world title back into their grasp, no matter which member of the family it is, but they're taking a crack at it as something Cody stole, or not stole. He went and earned it with the help of the Undertaker and John Cena, Andre the Giant, Adrian Adonis, all the legends that came to help him at WrestleMania 40. Yeah, again. But I'll stay to the track here. I like that there, but coming again and they made a good point, but I still think it's Cody. I still think it's Cody. I still think it's Gunther. I think it's Gunther versus Jey because Jay's got to finish his story. We're talking about stories, right? He can't beat Gunther. He couldn't beat him in the Intercontinental title matchup. He didn't beat him when he was champion, but he won the Rumble. He's determined. You know, if you first don't succeed, get yourself back up and try again. And I want him to go out there and win it. Because right now, it's not that Gunther's unbeatable. Gunther's a hell of a ring. They don't call him the ring general for nothing.
No,
and if you're making, it's phenomenal. So if he wins the Rumble in a high heavy Rumble where he had heavy hitters, Chris, and then he beats the ring general, I kind of think it legitimized more Jey Uso because he beat a ring general, a technician, after beating 29 of the best WWE superstars. 28 because I'm not gonna. I show speed as a superstar, but you know what I mean.
Hold on, yeah, go ahead. Wait.
No problem. And I hate Cody and Jay, but it ain't happening. It ain't happening. No, I don't think it's happening just yet. I don't think it's gonna happen just yet, personally. And I like the fact that they go with that. I'm cool with that. I would like to see Gunther and Jay. I would like to see Gunther and Jay.
Yeah,
have him finish the story, win that title. Because tell me when he shows up on Monday Night Raw when he has that title, everyone yeeting. They're not gonna look at it as a secondary title. They're not gonna look at it as a secondary title. It's not because you just say I went through. I eliminated all these suckers and I beat Gunther. Nah, this is it. No. I like it. There's a new pecking order here.
Yep.
There's a new pecking order, and then the World Heavyweight Champion could be your younger talent champions because it's Gunther. And of course, we could debate if they're young or not, but I'm talking about younger from Punk, exactly. Roman, Cody's in that 40 area. You know, they're not old, but they're in that. You know, they're there. Well, these guys are a little younger. Gunther's in his 30s, mid 30s. So is Jay. You know, and so forth. You know, and so forth. There. In Rollins and all that stuff that held those titles, where except for Damon's in the 40s. They just turned 40 something, but still, my point is they're the younger ones on that world title.
Younger is a good word, but guys like when you bring up Priest, like those are guys who haven't been pushed to the world title scene, and I think that is a good first title to push out there. Like Damien's now that Damien's had that, he can go for the Universal title if he wants to. He could go like that's a good like okay, I've won. That's a good like new. If you've never been a world champion, the one that Gunther has is the one you want. Yes. That's a great analogy on that there. And I haven't seen any more releases. I'm gonna refresh one more time to see again. Those that I watched if you're tuning in, of course, we talked about the releases, the Good Brothers, Giovanni Da Vinci. We talked about Blair Davenport, Cedric Alexander, Paul Ellering, AOP, Sonya Deville, Isla Dawn, Duke Hudson. And they say there's going to be more names coming out. I don't know if they'll do it today. Maybe they'll give it a 24-hour, 48-hour break to let it marinate because they don't want to like, man, look at this massive exodus. That's a lot of names out there. And we talked about the possibilities where we could see some of them. Maybe a team, for Carl Anderson and Gallows, I could see TNA return because one of the things they stood with the WWE because they didn't want to travel. They didn't want to leave too much of their families to go back to New Japan. That name, and that was mentioned by Carl Anderson on Busted Open. He just he loves it, even though they because they kind of were trying to say they don't got much for you here. But he goes, I'm home. I'm getting paid well. I don't mind going to NXT. I don't mind doing NXT run because I'm home with my family. I don't have to travel, leave them across and all that good stuff. So we'll find out for Gallows if they return a TNA return for them. They could see them in there where Hardy's the good boys. We'll see if they return there. We'll see what happens to them. And we'll go stick on the SmackDown because we're going to wrap up here. We saw some qualifying matches we see Bianca Belair, again, the EST, entering the Elimination Chamber. Though we still don't know what's going on with Jade Cargill, what's happened to her, where she's at, what's her storyline. We're a little concerned. We saw a promo battle that was a little bit of a botch there from Drew McIntyre, calling Jimmy J, but LA Knight. In back and forth, but Drew goes to the chamber. I love the way that he closed the finish with the Claymore to the back of the head, while LA Knight was going to do the
the full trauma to Jimmy. I love that. I love the way they got to that finish. I'm not a big fan of Drew McIntyre, but I appreciate a good finish and how they get to the finish. That was a good one. I like that there. Carmelo Hayes beating to Kazuchika Okazawa. We mentioned that earlier. And Alexa Bliss, who had the biggest pop of the night after she interrupted Nia Jax, who came out with Candice LeRae. But before that, you had Charlotte and Tiffany Stratton having that promo value. Let me ask you this, Charlotte, now. Let me ask the same question for Charlotte. Which title you want to see her pick? You saw Tiffany, you saw Rhea, you saw...
It's been Tiffany since the beginning. I mean,
okay.
We saw Rhea and Charlotte. Charlotte passed Rhea the torch at 39. You can't have a bigger number than that.
But here's a rebuttal on that one. Each lady has one match. Each lady has one match victory apiece. This is the rubber match if you go to WrestleMania between Charlotte.
I agree. That could happen. I'm
not saying that I'm picking it, but I'm being a devil's advocate on why.
Absolutely. I still think it's Tiffany. I think it's something fresh, something to elevate Tiffany, depending on how it goes. But it's hard because for me personally, that match they had at 39 was one of the best women's matches I've seen in a long time. Could they top it? Who cares?
It was.
The story could be there, but I think her and Tiffany, something new, elevate the younger talent. She's young. She's only like mid-20s, and she's fresh. So, again, I would have liked to see the opposite, though. We know Tiffany grabbing the title from Charlotte, but if Tiffany could beat Charlotte, that makes her so legit at WrestleMania.
All right. I'm with you on that one, by the way. I like the rubber matchup possibly there. But damn, Tiffany's not there in the in-ring yet to beat a Charlotte Flair. That's the one concern. And I know, and it's like, damn, Tiffany only got 2 years in the wrestling business. You telling me she's gonna be the best women's wrestler of all time in WrestleMania? That's why I kind of would like to see Rhea, that rubber match, and then because you could always make it a big time at SummerSlam. Remember, SummerSlam is 2 nights. SummerSlam is going to be just as big in the summer as a WrestleMania because it's outdoors, it's a stadium, and it's 2 nights. You need marquee matchups. You need a great marquee matchup.
It gives you something in the summer to like. In the summer, I'm 22. In the summer, I'm out with my friends, everything. You're probably out with your family doing all that stuff. SummerSlam's the one day in the summer to where like, let's watch something. Like, let's stay in like one day in the summer where you can stay inside. And
now you're asking us for 2 nights. Now you're asking us for 2 nights. You got to give us something to hook us for 2 summer nights.
Yeah, you're giving us 2 nights on the Saturday and Sunday. So.
Because if you ask people currently right now when it's 32 degrees outside and sleet and snow, they're gonna like, hell no, I'm not gonna give you 2 nights in the summer. I'm going to the beach. I'm going outside. I'm going to the park. I'm doing something outdoor. But you have to. But if you put something on paper on my key matchup box office that is gonna draw us in that time of the year, you have. And I think Charlotte and Tiffany makes it. Or you could even go Rhea and Charlotte. I hope they don't unify them, but a third time, a rubber match. We'll find out what happens there. So SmackDown, one thing, we had the return of Solo Sikoa returning at the end. We all gonna find out what the hell is gonna happen on SmackDown. Is Jacob gonna still love Solo? I love you, Solo, or you left me, Solo? We'll find out on Friday. We'll find out on that. With that, I cannot wait to see where that goes with Solo and Jacob Fatu going forward there. I can't wait to see that. Tonga Loa, the rest of the bloodline. We're not going to see Roman. He's out again because it looked like he was concussed, but for the foreseeable future, Sami Zayn written off of TV for a little bit. Maybe they're not going to be around for WrestleMania. I don't even think WWE Creative know who the hell is going to be in WrestleMania. I don't even think they know the card. That's what it seems like. They don't even know what direction, what's the card. They don't know Jey is going in there, but against Gunther, and I don't think the rest. And maybe the women's world championship, but the rest, who knows? Could it be a triple threat with CM Punk, Seth Rollins, and Roman Reigns? Could it be where who's going to win the elimination chamber? Is it going to be Punk we're Cena, but it keeps us on our toes from guessing and not making it predictable and say,
hey, Mac, let's go. Let's go. They're gonna have a good moment in Canada.
It's going to be a great one. It's going to be a great one. So we're here for it. We're locked and loaded. We're ready to go. So we want to thank everyone for watching this week, talking wrestling with us here, getting in the ring with us here on the Heal the Ring podcast, on the Sports Jedi Network YouTube channel, on X, on Rumba, on Twitch, on Facebook, on all the different platforms. Don't forget, our home of the watch-alongs are the Playback TV. Please join us on the Playback TV. Become a member. It's totally free. It doesn't cost anything. It's totally free. It doesn't cost nothing. It's just like YouTube. There it is right there. All you got to subscribe. Why you become a member? Because it alerts you, let you know when we go live on the watch-alongs. You get to see the event. You get to watch the wrestling. You get to see it and hear us. We go in a little window in a corner. It's not like the other watch-alongs. Again, nothing wrong with your watch-alongs, other folks. But you get to see them making corny faces and forcing the action. No, you get to watch it with us, and you get to see the wrestling event and comment. And follow us. Follow us on X. Our X handles are in the video description. Follow us. You can also give us some notes and all that whenever we do any roundtables discussion. Again, we need to find female content creators that wants to join us, that wants to be pundits on the Sports Jedi Network Heal the Ring podcast. We need to Heal the Ring female crew members. We need you desperately because we want to hear your thoughts. We want to hear the women's point of view. Not every, women has other perspective, other point of views that helps us see it in a different angle. Gemma was great at that with her perspective, but she's busy right now. Canary's injured on the injured list. They gave her a package power driver. Hopefully she gets better on her neck. She's out there with Randy, and we want her to return. Can't wait for her to return back and better. But we need other female pundits, and we asking you reach out. You could reach out on my email. You could reach out on my YouTube, on my X DMs, whatever. I don't like to DM anyone because it seems a little creepy because of a male. A lot of perverts out there DMing women. But that's why I say it open forum. Come if you want to join us, just DM me. Simple. Hey, I'm interested, and I'm interested in the content creating part. There it is. And then we'll go from there. Let me be clear with that because it goes both ways. The Super Bowl tomorrow. Have a good one. Enjoy the Super Bowl tomorrow. Who do you like?
Honestly, I live right down the street from Philadelphia, and I can't stand the Chiefs. So, first time only, last time only. I'm taking the Philadelphia.
Ah, cool. I'm going for the referees. I'm going for the referees. With that,
to lose me some money tomorrow. Shit.
Oh my God! No, I got a couple Super Bowl squares. I just hope my numbers hit the Super Bowl squares. I could use the money. Seriously, I'm gonna be totally honest. I could use the money. Well, who doesn't? But I really could use the money for the Super Bowl squares if I get it. If I get that, I hopefully have enough so I could get those full sale tickets to go see TNA. That's what I'm banking on. If I hit the Super Bowl square, I'm going to Full Sail to watch TNA. If I don't, well, I'll be watching along with you guys here on the playback. So let's go. Good luck to both teams, and let them be entertaining and eat a lot of chicken wings. That's what I say. So for me, you guys enjoy the Super Bowl. We'll be back Monday Night Raw, of course, on the playback. And we want to thank you. I got double duties tonight, so I forgot that I got the Knicks and Celtics later on at 8:00. So guys, have a good night. We'll appreciate you. We thank you guys. May the sports be with you. Peace out.